Good evening, everybody. Deadman Walking 55 coming to you. We're 4 minutes after 9 on the east coast of the USA, marking the end of the college football season. We only have one game left to go. Amazing how this year started, how it changed, the highs, the lows, what started, what changed during the year, and everything else. But hey, another college football season is in the books, pending the game, Nick, on Monday night between the Ohio State University and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So, hey, probably the best matchup we've got if it turns out that these two teams don't lay a big egg coming up. But, hey, we'll talk about that. We'll look about how bad our playoff picks were, kind of like hit the bowls a little bit one more time, maybe hit a few other surprise topics along the way on that. But let me bring in the man, my co-host with this. That's the one and only, the captain, JT Kirk. JT, how are you tonight?
Hail, good evening. I am well, thank you. And
hell, it's so cold up where you are, isn't it?
Well, yeah, more like snow. I'm doing great this week. And my cat is in the room with me, so she may be chiming in on her picks.
Oh, hey, cats are expected to take over streams. That happens on every streamer stream. The cats take over, but you know,
I wish the cats would have taken over in this playoff, but hey, that didn't happen. Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, you would hope. But I tell you
what a disappointment there.
It really has been. It really. I think last week's games were not bad, relatively speaking, but still, a lot of changes. I mean, is the SEC now going to be a power conference like people thought? Have they fallen apart? Has the transfer portal and everything made it a lot more parity nationwide? We don't know. Some people have actually questioned about the need of having regional-based conferences anymore. All this is coming to change the landscape of college football these days. And I don't necessarily think for the best. What do you think?
I think it's a little too premature to say after one season that the SEC is done. You know, they'll be back next year, and in greater numbers too. Star Wars reference. Well, anyway,
I got it. I got it.
Hey, there you go. So at the
same
time,
I tell all the geeks that you can bring geekery and you can bring all this crap into sports. It's just you gotta try to do it. You gotta give it a chance. So, but
right.
I love it.
So I'm not too down on them. I think they might have had the toughest road in the playoffs as well. On some of those things, especially Tennessee kind of getting shafted, but maybe they never would have won anyway. It's hard to say on alternate scenarios. I am wondering what the point of the conference is anyway, myself. Because I look at my own school, my own alma mater, and they still play like 4 non-conference games.
And they play
which is a huge percentage of their schedule.
And an 18-team conference also.
So there's no hope of even playing all of your opponents, right? There's just no hope at all to do that.
And that was another thing that a lot of conferences found was that the unbalanced scheduling. I mean, you get a team like Texas that had a fairly easy conference schedule. Georgia had to play Alabama on the road, had to play Ole Miss on the road. I mean, or even Florida that had what was known as the country's toughest schedule, at least as as the season started. Even Vanderbilt had a tougher schedule than some of the teams that finished higher in the league, and they even made a bowl game this year. So there's a lot to it, and it's going to see. And also the fact of, I know Carson Beck's transferring to Miami to be with his girlfriend, but still, Georgia could claim that affected them in the playoffs because they lost their starting quarterback, who was used to play more than the backup, because of a SEC championship game injury. Will we continue having championship games for that reason? I know Lane Kiffin bashed the SEC this year, questioning about the wisdom of having the game because he's like, hey, we could make the playoffs and we're still here. We don't have to play that week. Of course, he fooled himself and they didn't make it. But anyway. but you can't say the SEC is the best because every time you want to pick it, Indiana, the SEC teams like Tennessee have said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
It was crazy. So.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of shenanigans scheduling your games from here on out because people are like, well, however I just get to 0-1 loss gets me in because it got Indiana in, so let's do it, right?
And we saw how Indiana was exposed as a fraud. They truly were. They used to pay nobody all year. You can tell. Penn State, I would say, represented themselves better than I thought they were. I do want to talk about that game. I had some comments about that game specifically. So we will get into it in just a second. Let's say hello to the great people. We got 6 people, 1 on the Twitch side. Make sure you follow over there. 5 on the YouTube side. We are back at 675. So let's see if we can get this 8. Am I at 675? I guess I am. Damn. Let's see if we can get up to 680. I've been bing. But let's say hello to Fallout Dave. Hey, Dave, good to see you tonight. Hello, and hello, everyone from B from O. Good to see you. And JT Kirk saying hello to our 2 members. We apparently have a few lurkers. Thank y'all for lurking. If you do, please, like the missus said, we'd love, at least if you say hi, we'd love to recognize you, and we'll leave you alone and let you lurk. But just, it's always nice to put a name to whoever's out there so we can make it inclusive. And, honestly, you may not know about sports, but, hey, ask the question. And we're going to be a lot more laid back tonight. Tonight's really not much college football to talk about. We're down to last week's games, this week's game, and maybe some bigger issues. So if you got questions about, what is football, how is American football, difference pro NFL, we might even talk a little bit of the NFL playoffs. So, all right, well, let's go. You ready to see how we did to compare to each other, JT?
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see it.
Well, I gave up on counting the actual
just
records.
Get this over with.
Yeah, I gave up counting the extra records, but look, I only had Texas getting the semifinals. Everybody else was gone. Of course, I got neither one in the national championship game, which you made me feel good. You didn't get either team in the national championship game either.
Yeah, we managed that.
But at least
we
you got
that somehow.
At least you got 2 to the semis, Texas and Penn State, though. So
hey, so I guess technically I win.
Technically you win, yes. And hell, buddy,
okay.
Hepburn.
I'm going to lord that over you then. I'm going to lord that over you.
Well, like Whoopa did is undefeated on my channel. And yeah, the SEC is so important that officiating crew is assigned to national. Oh, Lord, help them. They are in trouble. Let's see if those bastards can call as many holding penalties as they do on the Florida Gators in the regular SEC games. So with any luck, they'll try to hold the game to 3-0 or something, since we can't have a tie anymore. But, buddy, good to see you today. Folks, we're going to talk about some of the games. Tell us what you thought with your comments about the game. Tell us how you think the national championship is going to go. So, basically, JT, congrats. There's no way. Yeah, you win by default.
I won the losers bracket. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That works. That's the way we're going to call it. So, Dave said, poll the refs and see who they bet on, the winner. Did you see that little footage in the NFL playoffs this weekend with I call him the Tim Tebow wannabe that got a chance that Tim Tebow didn't get for Buffalo. The guy from Wyoming who was always running, never throwing, and then magically they let him run a wide open offense in the NFL, and magically he can play NFL. No resentment about Tebow, am I? JT, but
None.
I mean, it's like, I mean, this guy was like Tebow in college, and it's anyway. But did you see the footage with the NFL, the official coming up to him and talking to him while he's sitting on the bench on the sideline?
I didn't catch that. No.
People were kind of saying like, "Oh, he's going over there apologizing to him, saying like, sorry, if you're Pat Mahomes, we'd have you back next week." So anyway, but officiating is always a wonderful thing. All right, well, let's take a look here what we got coming up as what's happened in the first round, the 2021, which happened on campus. Clemson went on the road, lost at Texas. We had the 9 to 12 teams, all road teams lost this opening round. Tennessee just after nailing north, they went south, 42-17. Again, this is the game that JT referenced that I think this is travesty. Now, granted, with the Ohio State team we're seeing now, they probably would have beaten Tennessee in Knoxville, but still, this is losing to a dreadful Michigan team at home. Tennessee deserved to be the 8th seed in this one, but hey,
They did.
At least
They
Ohio
really did.
But at least Ohio State. But this thing is, if that game was in Knoxville, who knows what the start would be like.
They might have still lost, but it might have been by 7.
Yeah. Then we got Penn State blowing out SMU, which again, SMU needs to don't take the ACC teams. Fine. Next time a Clemson wins a title, I don't care if SMU was the regular season. Don't go with the regular season ACC champion. They suck. They cannot play in the playoffs. That's why they got skipped. That's why an undefeated FSU got skipped last year. I'm telling you. Because they don't play the type of competition in the ACC that the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10 play. And we saw it this year with SMU. They were not built to play these big power teams.
Well, and there was a saying or a slogan for decades in the Big 10. It was the Big 2, Little 8, or Big 2, Little 10, depending on how many teams they kept adding. And it was because it was Michigan and Ohio State, and then everybody else.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I think if you're going to keep this conference structure the way it is, it's going to be the Big 2 and the Little 10, or however many other conferences are out there.
It goes to a lot to saying to just do away with the conferences. I don't know if it was Buddy Hepburn or somebody said that once about just going independent nationwide to I'm like, at this point, the SEC means nothing to me anymore. I mean, it's pointless. If all we're doing is slotting to play for a national title, let Florida choose its own schedule. Avoid Georgia, avoid Alabama. I mean, Florida's schedule is out. I can take a look at that as we have time, but it's like, just why bother? Why sticking
Well,
people in reasons?
Or they just do 2 big conferences and make smaller divisions.
Yeah.
And have the collegiate football conference and the university football conference, and have it be like NFC, AFC, basically.
Dave is speaking like a true Gator fan. That's why FSU joined the ACC. Super weak. Although they are trying to get out of it, they are still in legal talks and actions to them and Clemson, and maybe I think North Carolina are the 3 schools looking to get out of the ACC. Definitely FSU's active. Their board of trustees has actually taken action, authorizing action to, eventually move out of the conference. Where they go has been the big mystery, whether it's the Big 10 or the SEC.
I mean, how many more games do they want to keep losing every year? Because that's going to be the problem with the competition. Clemson, I would have less problem with.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's what I say is I think FSU and Clemson have it made. Stay in the ACC. You're going to be playing for more titles. Norvell, though, Mike Norvell got the worst case scenario of the transfer portal and NIL thing this year. Previous 2 years, it worked. This year, it didn't, including buying the quarterback from Oregon State that he came in and did not play at all. Well,
see, I think they're doing it a little bit backwards. They shouldn't be trying to leave. They should be trying to poach. I think you could get the remnants of the pack, move them in, and finally get, make an offer Notre Dame can't refuse. Yeah. And you've made a solid conference right there. You might only have 7 teams that are worth it, but that's still 7 teams, better than the 2 or 3 you have now.
Yeah. If you have to expel like Duke, Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, even. I mean, the smaller private schools, get rid of them because that's like what's so oddity with Vanderbilt being a small private school in the SEC. It's just they won't be kicked out because of the long-lasting tradition, and their rivalry with Tennessee. But I mean, what is Duke? But basketball. There you do have to look at Duke does offer something for basketball, but Georgia Tech has been nothing in either sport for years. Wake Forest has had some good years nationally for basketball, but
Nothing that
nothing.
spectacular.
Nope. Well, the second round, the quarterfinals started in the bowl games. The best of all of them has been the double overtime Texas Arizona State shootout, which actually was looked like it was over at halftime, but Arizona hung in, came back, tied it, forced overtime. Texas could have won in regulation, dinked it off the upright, but wins in the second overtime. And then, of course, the game that 34-0, Ohio State up on Oregon immediately, and the Rose Bowl was a wilted flowers for Oregon this time. 41-21, Ohio State wins. The Fiesta Bowl was not like a snooze fest. It was close sort of early towards the halftime, but Penn State pulls away in the second half, wins 31-14. And then the All-State Sugar Bowl, Georgia was never in this game. They were for the first half, but then the mistake, the fumble.
It was embarrassing, Dan, man.
The fumble in the last minute, and the 17 points, that the fumble with the see, that's the case where, and we're going to talk about this Penn State game. I think in that case, Georgia should have just run the ball out and gone to half. You're down 3-0, or it's a close game, or you're down 6-3, and it's right there at halftime. You have a younger quarterback. I like that they were trying to be aggressive, but I think that they just throw a screen pass, throw a flare, do something quick, get the ball out of his hand. But he stood back there and got sacked, stripped, and then one play later, touchdown Notre Dame. Notre Dame runs back the opening kickoff the second half for a touchdown. Lights out. Semifinals, these games, it was Texas made a game for a little bit, 28, but loses to Ohio State 28-14. And we will have a matchup of 7 and 8 seeds. Notre Dame outlasts Penn State in the Orange Bowl. Setting up the matchup for Ohio State and Notre Dame coming up. So what do you think? What are your comments, thoughts about through the bracket, through the game so far, as you would like to take a look at them?
Well, I saw that Georgia game in big chunks, and that was a disappointment. Yeah, I mean, it really was. Not only did I have them winning it all, it was pretty clear how bad the portal is damaging the game and how bad that injury is damaging the game. The Georgia starting QB, had an injury at the end of the season, translated into the backup quarterback, just not able to do anything. I mean, it was to the point where you could just turn it off.
Yeah.
You think Georgia can't really even get a first down on a lot of that.
Well, when they did try a big play, you either have a sideline tripping because of kids close to the sideline, or the wide receivers can't catch. That's been the biggest complaint I've heard in all year watching this Georgia team. Their receivers dropped everything, and they did in this game. They had big plays that they could have dropped passes wide open. When they could have done it. I mean, they couldn't help the quarterback out, and that's when you have the younger quarterback in. Your other players need to step up and produce, and they didn't. This is probably one of the worst coached games I've ever seen Kirby Smart have at Georgia.
Oh, easily one of the worst. And it looked like they hadn't come prepared on a lot of that. The one thing I will say is they did hold Notre Dame to 23 points. I know people are like, whatever. That's, 23 points is a good amount. That is far below what I would come to expect from the Irish on that. I thought that they actually did give them some good looks on the defensive end. If I look at their regular season scoring, let's see, they put up 66 on Purdue, 31 on 15th ranked Louisville, 49 on Stanford, 31 on Georgia Tech, 51 on Navy, 52 on Florida State, 35 on Virginia, 49 on Army, 49 on USC. So they kept them to roughly maybe half the points they would score in a typical game. So that just shows you the caliber of opponents that Notre Dame plays during the regular season, week after week. But they did a better job at stopping the run than I thought they would have.
There are two things with this game that jumped out at me. The fact Notre Dame's defense was in the backfield of Georgia the whole time, whether Georgia was trying to throw or they ran. I've never seen a Georgia line that beaten up except when the Gators played them in the 90s and 2000s.
It did look weak and banged up.
I mean, they were just coming after them every play. They were just blitzing.
They looked slow.
They just blew through that Georgia line. Mm-hmm. And the second thing that with this game is that even though Notre Dame was held down in terms of point production, their total yardage was not that impressive when you look at it. But especially in the second half, they ran the ball just enough to keep moving the chains. Georgia could not get them off the field on third down in the second half, and that to me it was frustrating Georgia. And what made the difference? Notre Dame did not need to score points because Georgia couldn't stop them. It could not end drives to get the ball back, and then even when they got the ball back, they couldn't score.
Right.
So, I mean, those are the two things I thought with Notre Dame in this game that they really did effectively. So,
and Georgia had 0 for 3 fourth down efficiency, which just says desperation right there. 2 fumbles. Not a great look. Just not a great look at all.
All right. Any other thoughts?
Did they also miss a field goal?
I'm
trying to remember. Did they also miss a field goal in there? I'm trying to remember.
Well, let's see. We'll go back to there and look at this. We can look at the box score for it.
I mean, it doesn't super matter on that. No, they didn't. They made everything.
Okay.
1 attempt. Yeah, 1 for 1. But it just seemed like, they got themselves in these positions where they just could not claw themselves back.
Yeah,
you don't
really
score in the first quarter and you don't score in the fourth. You go into halftime with only 3 points. That's just not where you want to be. And their backup quarterback could not control the game ever. I never sat there on any of those possessions on Georgia.
His numbers look good. He was 20 of 32 for 234 yards. So statistically, he looked good, except he had that one big critical fumble. But Trevor Etienne held to under 4 yards a carry. That was a big thing right there. So, and then the lack of big plays did not help Georgia. And then when they did have a chance, they dropped the passes. So, all right. What I've impressed with Notre Dame is that they actually have a kicker that can make field goals. Because you remember in the 90s, for many years, they couldn't find a friggin' kicker. Notre Dame was like Michigan, always missing field goals.
I've seen it happen before. Michigan State had to go to the soccer team in scholarship a player back in the early 2000s with John L. Smith.
Actually, Auburn just did that this year. They actually found a kid that was in the class because he played at Birmingham Southern, some unknown school, but they shut down their football program, so he just became an Auburn student. About the eighth or ninth game of the year, they brought him out, and he was a kicker in the last few games for them. And Chewy, welcome. What's happening in your world? JT's actually posed this question to everybody. What is your biggest surprise game result so far, either in the college football playoffs or, say, in the bowl games? We're just taking a look at the college football bowl games right now, Chewy, but good to see you, who represents LSU out there. So let's take a look. So look back at these playoff games or even in the bowl games. What has surprised you? I'm going to take real quick behind the numbers. Ohio State Texas game. It's a game that really looked close. I mean, at halftime, it was 14-14 through the third quarter. Then look at that, 88-yard drive, 13 plays. And then, of course, look at another thing. Looks like 83-yard touchdown return for Ohio State to put the game out of reach with just over 2 minutes left. Texas, 341 yards total offense, but the 2 turnovers killed them in this game. Let's see where we go. We'll take a look at the box score. Let's see. Will Howard's 24-33 of 289 yards for Ohio State. Quinn Ewers was 23-39, 283, had a touchdown and threw a pick, though. So Travion Henderson only ran for 42 yards, but he had a 75-yard touchdown reception from Will Howard. This was really, really interesting. This is one of those games that looked like, when you look at the final score, it looks like it was a lot more one-sided than it was. But did you get to see much of this game, JT?
No, because it was on Disney's ESPN network.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
But I did watch I did listen to a radio broadcast of part of it, though, and I was watching the play-by-play at the same time. So I think we might have been on stream during this game anyway. If I remember, I'm trying to go back and think about it. But I actually thought that this was going to end up about the way that it did. Once Ohio State just destroyed the opponents it had before it, going for blood the way that they did, I didn't think Texas was going to have much of a chance.
Yeah, but it's so funny that they came close. They came close, but I don't know what it's Texas an enigma, a team that had all this promises here, had all this going for it, and then down the stretch really just seemed very pedestrian. Couldn't beat Georgia, lost to Georgia twice actually, lost to them in the championship game too, and it really didn't look great against Clemson early on, and just I don't know, this Longhorns team seemed to be overrated to me as a 5th seed, but
it goes back to kind of an idea that you have of some teams, and Alabama and Georgia aren't really in that, but some teams, especially in the SEC, you picture them as kind of more the finesse, passing up and down the field type of team, and then the Big Ten you think is the bruise them up, running every down kind of a team. And that might not have been how they actually played, but that's what I thought when I saw this matchup. And I just think Texas was outcompeted in a lot of areas that, it doesn't show because the game's not 50-70 or 50-7, anything like that. But individual player-to-player matchups on the offensive and defensive line end up making that difference. And sometimes it's hard to suss that out in the stats. Excuse me. But at the end of the day, I think Texas kind of had an easier path the whole time going through this whole season than Ohio State. Now, Ohio State dumped two that they shouldn't have had dumped all year. That Oregon game, they should have not lost that one, but I can understand it. That Michigan game should have never ended that way. And if they had won that Michigan game, no one would have even thought twice about this matchup.
Right.
Because people thought, well, Ohio State was the underdog. And it's like, well, wait a minute. They lost a game that they had no business losing. And if they had won that game, they probably would have been a 1 seed.
I think the toughest start to Ohio State was that first game against Tennessee, because that was after coming out that Michigan game. And it really bothers me that Tennessee didn't get the home game, because I wonder what it would have been like had they had to go on the road. Home field advantage does make a difference. And even though Tennessee's cold, it was even colder up there in Ohio. That's the one problem I've had with this whole seeding and selection this year was that seeding of that one team. Because to me, by virtue of their loss at home to a completely unranked Michigan team, Tennessee's loss to Arkansas was on the road and not bad. And but it is what it is. Credit Ohio State for riding the ship. People were talking about Ryan Day being fired that week if he lost to Tennessee. So,
I kind of wonder also if this is the high water mark for Texas going forward, especially when you lose a high stakes game like that because of the portal. Even though you made it into the playoffs, and in the old days, you would just be honored to have been there, right? And as players who are going to be at that school for 4 years, it gives you a lot of pride to say that you were there when you played under this coach and with these players and did that. Now, there's a sizable number of those players that are saying, well, what am I doing here in Texas? I should go play at Notre Dame. Or
Well, they
Ohio
did
State.
at other school. The backup quarterback who played a lot this year for Penn State left and went play to get in the transfer portal. Tennessee had a couple of defenders on the backups that did that too. So, all right. Well, let's see. Buddy said, and Chewy, I know Chewy had a big comment down. I'm going to get that in a second. But he said probably Oregon not being able to make headways in that last game. I agree. That probably was the most stunning. That I didn't see coming. I expected both teams to high score, but 34-0. Wow. We were sitting here counting down New Year's around the world. And I'm like, what the hell? That keeps going. It keeps on going. Yeah. So, and Chewy says, if I'm not rooting for LSU in football, the NFL side is the Philadelphia Eagles, but I had to say the biggest surprise game, if you count either bowl game or regular season, toss up between Ole Miss, Kentucky. Yeah. The Rebels' non-conference schedule shows they can destroy teams not their level, but Kentucky at the time was likely they were some spiraling bad. Yes. That, I tell you what, that's the one that really, I think, sunk Lane Kiffin to Florida there, right there. Because, you can get that with Billy Napier any day. And that game was in Oxford. It was like, that's a game you had no business losing to. Because especially with a Lane Kiffin generated offense, supposed to be points plenty against the Kentucky offense, it's even worse than normal years. But yeah, that
is just never good. They're like the Purdue of the SEC.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
Now on the postseason bowl side, Arizona State, Texas was surprising, but when I looked at the final score, thought maybe that Sun Devils would have got the best of Longhorns, but maybe having as much time off. On the college side, not so good. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great question because people have led that to believe. Seeds, I mentioned seeds 9 through 12 all lost, while seeds 1 through 4 all lost. That's significant because those are your top 4 seeds that all had that week off. They all had the bye week. You had that debate in the NFL. Do you really want to be that number 1 seed overall and have that week off, or do you want to keep playing? Can that week off actually hurt you?
Maybe not. I think it comes down to injuries. I think a lot of it just comes down to injuries. If you're not an injured team, and every team is going to have some injuries, but if you made it through that end of the season not too banged up, you want to keep momentum in there in the mental focus. If you let it go 2 weeks, we have this debate in a lot of games, even the Michigan State game. They try not to put a bye week for either team right before that matchup. Same with Michigan, Ohio State. They'll try not to put a bye week near the end of the season before that matchup. But whenever they do, some people perceive that as an advantage for the team with the bye week. Others say, no, we don't want it because you end up the perception that you're losing that sharpness. I really just think it comes down more to injuries than anything else.
It's just funny how all 4 of the higher seeded teams that had the time off lost. It gets me. Yay! We got hockey. We may get hockey talk another time, but hey, I'm actually watching a little bit of Devils tonight.
Is that Arizona State team no, Arizona, right?
Yeah. Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Hey, Sashi, welcome.
Mixed up. And they're clearly different teams. Yeah. I did not expect great things out of them at all. I thought that game ended exactly as it needed to go because a lot of those 4 seeds were making you angry, Dad. Man, they were just not looking great to me either. No. Now the bottom 4 losing and the top 4 losing, I did not expect, obviously, because my bracket doesn't reflect that. But
exactly.
I thought they were just like another Boise State.
Yeah. Chewy points out that had Ole Miss not lose to either Kentucky or LSU, it's what if matchup against Georgia could have gotten a primetime slot. We may never see Lane Kiffin complain why his team cannot get a night game against a big time team. Yeah, that's what people keep. That was something he brought up this year. Was that his team kept getting stuck? Well, I think the point he was making too was they can't. Not that they were always getting stuck, that they couldn't get that game. They can't seem to keep getting stuck 12 noon, especially. And 12 noon in Oxford is 11 a.m. because we're talking 12 noon starts Eastern time. So I kind of saw his issue with it a bit too. But yeah, you win, it'll take care of itself. That there's all that, winning cures everything. So, but yeah, and Sashi, great to see you saying hi to everybody too while
Hey,
you're here.
Sashi.
Exactly. Penn State Notre Dame 27-24 in that game. I did want to. There was because I was live during this one. We were talking with Wes Cagle and Connie Cleary. See, this is a game. Penn State started up 10-0. Couldn't it looked like they were going to start to dominate, but Notre Dame cuts to 10-3 at halftime, and then third quarter just one touchdown. Then all the scoring starts in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame takes the lead. Penn State rallies, takes the lead. Notre Dame ties it up. Then Notre Dame wins on a last-second field goal. I'll go ahead with the stats because, the stats I think said a lot. To me, was an indicator of what was going to happen in this game because Riley Leonard actually threw the ball well this game. I'd been picking on his throwing ability. He actually got dinged up a little bit, and Steve Angley came in, went 6 of 7 for 44 yards, and led him to that field goal drive at the end of the first half. Otherwise, you're looking at a 10-0 deficit. Riley Leonard came back in and actually started completing some passes. Ended up 15-23, 223 yards. He had a touchdown, but he also had 2 bad picks in this game. Just was not the best, but he did move. I think Notre Dame adjusted. They started throwing more in the second half when they could have. They were held to 117 yards rushing, only less than 3 yards a carry. But what I found was really telling in this game is Penn State, James Franklin runs 42 times for 204 yards, about 5 yards a carry. Great traditional Big 12 offense, Big 10 offense for you. But what the key to this game I thought was Drew Allard, the quarterback, was only 12 of 23 for 135 yards and a huge interception this game. We were live, like I said, talking with Connie Cleary and Wes Cagle watching this game. And I just made a comment. They got the ball back with about a minute left in Penn State. They're on their own side of the 50. And I've seen Allard throwing all game. He was high, he was wide, all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there thinking, like, do you really want to trust this guy to this, or should you play for overtime? They ran a play, called timeout. Then the next play, he got pressured, scrambled up, threw it back across field, and it got intercepted by Notre Dame, which set up the game-winning field goal.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, it's one James Franklin strikes again because it's like, it was like your quarterback was struggling. You could see it. He was not accurate. He was missing the mark. Why throw a wild shot downfield like that, like he did? And they set Notre Dame up for the win in this game. That, to me, was the biggest story that I had coming out of that game.
And again, they put a lot of pressure on these players that are basically still kids. Their frontal lobes not finished developing.
Well,
they're young players. They may not be kids, but they are still young players.
But they're going to be paid to play. And I tell you, I think that the coaches are going to lose these games because they're afraid to bench these guys. Because I think Nico for Tennessee should have been benched at times this year. I mean, yeah, they're not going to go anywhere unless he develops. But tell him, put the senior backup quarterback in it a little bit. He can't do everything wrong. Sometimes let the quarterback see the game from the sideline. Sometimes the game's too fast for him. Let him see it. But now, this day of, your hated rival Michigan with their damn $12 million man that they took from LSU. This is friggin' ridiculous. This is where it's gotten out of control. It's not just about paying players, or compensating beyond just a degree. It's unrestricted free agency. What is becoming, and it's on a year by year basis.
Now, Deadman, help me out here. Tell me if I'm crazy, if this take is a little too hot for things. You have these instances where it's tied up. You're going into the last 1 or 2 minutes, but you have the whole field to go.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not even 2 minutes. Give it a minute, right? And you still have 75 yards to go. Your quarterback does not have the highest completion rate, and you're dropping a lot of passes.
Yep.
Do you take that QB out, sit him, and do you put in, maybe you don't call it a quarterback per se, but that's the position, a quarterback that is run first, almost like a kid who is a running back on your team but played a quarterback some in high school, where they can still throw the ball. It's almost like a tight end, but in the quarterback position.
Yeah, Penn State kind of ran that. Penn State had number 44 that was a tight end that was actually doing it. I think they tried to let him throw a pass too. I'm not for a 2-minute offense. I don't think you can.
And staying alive.
I don't think you can for a 2-minute offense. I think what you have to decide is, am I playing for overtime or if I'm going to play for the win? You stay with your starter, but you try to pull him down, getting the short screen passes, quick laterals or something. But what they did on that play was he was so bad and so awful that second half, especially. It was like I wouldn't have trusted him to throw at all down the field.
And I would prefer to, and maybe this is too conservative to really be considered.
You're from the Big 10. You're from the Big 10, so you're the conservative conference. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I would play for survival over the win.
Yeah,
pretty much any day, because to me, that's having more faith in your players.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what Penn State should have done there. I think with that timeout, I think they were in a position. Notre Dame might have used timeouts to make them punt again, but I don't think Notre Dame would have been able to move the ball at Penn State punted. But it was all moot when he threw the pick where he did and set Notre Dame up. They only moved about 20 yards to get in field goal range. And like I said, it's weird seeing a Notre Dame kicker that can actually kick. I remember back in the 80s or 90s, Notre Dame I think it was Notre Dame and Michigan. Both teams could never find kickers on their teams. It was horrible. It was bad, JT. You would think schools of those high natures would be able to find kickers. Nope. They were having problems big time. So, All right.
Right.
Any other thoughts on this game, JT? 27-24, Notre Dame wins, sets up Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Sorry.
I ran altogether. Did you have any last thoughts on either of these games or the games to date before we take a look at this national championship game?
Okay. Yeah, I cut out for a second on the first part of that. No, I kind of want to talk about the next game coming up ahead.
Okay,
these other games, I don't want to talk about Notre Dame.
All right. Well, let me let you start. Go ahead. Where do you want to go with this one?
Yeah. So I was looking at statistics for both of these teams coming into the game. This is a historical matchup I'm not talking about in the current day making a history type of matchup. I'm talking about going back almost a century, maybe thereabouts, where these teams have played each other. So these are not strangers to one another. You could get from each school's campus in less than 5 hours at this time of year. So you could definitely, wherever they were they to play at either one's home site, people would travel. This is one of those where it's a regional matchup almost between these two schools. The states are right next to each other after all. So I'm looking at this thinking, okay, Notre Dame does not allow mistakes. Ohio State is high powered on pretty much every angle. How would I go about trying to pick one of these two? So, first thing that really struck me was looking at who's the passing team and who's the running team. I looked, and Notre Dame on the season's got 2,900 yards passing. Ohio State has just shy of 4,000. So you're looking at, what is that, a third more productivity? And the attempts, they're actually, Notre Dame has more attempts too. So I'm looking at this thing, okay, Ohio State's definitely going to try to go through the air on this, but they also, when you look at rushing, have a pair of running backs that are just killing it. Two of them are just under 1,000 yards. One has 10 touchdowns, the other one has 12. So they've got a decent not a decent, a solid running back core, where I'm saying, okay, this is looking really good. On the offensive side, I look at Notre Dame, not quite as strong. I'll just be honest, not quite as strong. They have 2,900 rushing yards on the year compared to Ohio State's just under 2,500. So when I look at that, I'm just saying, okay, they're roughly as productive, but if I had to look at it, 542 attempts versus 493. I think yard per yard average, Ohio State's around 5.
Yep.
Notre Dame's at 5.8. So I think advantage on this on the offense, they average over 2 yards a carry more on passing. And that's really going to give them an advantage on offense, definitely. So I think it's Notre Dame's defense that's really going to determine this game more than anything else, because both of these offenses will show up.
Right.
They will.
Yeah.
So
Buddy says that Riley Leonard pulls and runs the ball a lot more than Will Howard does for Ohio State. Howard is more throwing or just traditional handoff to the, like you said, Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, I think, that had that 75-yard touchdown pass the other night. One of the things that I saw in this game was a few weeks ago before the Tennessee matchup, one of the Tennessee broadcasters that I listened to, they were going and they were doing their picks. Of course, you had the Homer Tennessee and stuff. But he's like, look, there's 2-to-1 5-star to 5-star between more on Ohio State than Tennessee. They had so much more of NIL versus what Tennessee. And they're like, just looking at it, that on paper, they said Ohio State. And then we see what's happened. We won't get into the big issues of how much money, how big their payroll is. That was even a shot on the SEC short comedy this week. But yeah, there's just so much talent on that Ohio State roster. 2 running backs like that. Quinshon Judkins could have stayed at Ole Miss and been easily a 1,000-yard rusher, if not more than that. And hello, Brogu. Good to see you. We're now talking about the LSU, not LSU, Ohio State Notre Dame national championship match. Hell, I wish LSU was in the friggin' national championship game. Damn, 2 of the teams I hate the most, I got to cheer for one of them.
And look who else.
Lord Poopas, Cuber. Hello, humans
and
other critters. Yes.
There we go.
All right. Sounds like a party let out somewhere. But by the way, the missus is still working on rearranging, deconstructing a bear is what I told her I was going to tell Snorter Poopas. Mrs. is deconstructing a bear right now because she was working on a build stream and it kind of got off a little bit. So
that sounds like something Walt Disney would do.
Well, but she's going to leave some fishies in the bear's stomach, though. So the bear will be well fed. Wow, we got 11 people here with us. Thank y'all on the YouTube side and the Twitch side. And here's Jess. Hey, welcome, SPD girl.
Hey, Jess.
Good to see it. Yeah.
You're getting a mini raid. This is nice.
It looks like it. Yeah. Cool, everybody. Yeah, we're just now starting to talk about the Ohio State and Notre Dame matchup and to see what we had thoughts about that. Because I tell you what, honestly, that Notre Dame defense is just spot on. And it's going to take that kind of effort to stop that Ohio State offense. But that's what makes you mad. It's got to be mad as an Ohio State fan. How the hell can you score 10 points at home against friggin' Michigan? And now you go out and you nuke Tennessee, you blast the living hell out of the Ducks, and and you do okay, back to normal, but you did good against Texas. But yet you only scored 10 points against Michigan. I'm like, how does this happen? Oh, by the way, Jess, you caused Mrs. to spend on the Lego website. Yeah, she took advantage of that $70 thing and getting the free item. Thank you, Jess.
Well, it's your anniversary, and happy anniversary again, by the way.
Thank you so much. Yeah, she hadn't asked for a lot over the years, so hey, It's good. Oh no, not well. She's doing it to make the bear whole, and she's also going to leave some fish in the bear's belly. So somebody said to leave some food in the belly, so she's going to do that. And I just noticed Jess is actually laughing about doing that. Okay, thank you.
So when I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, offense solid on both, but I think Ohio State has the edge.
Yeah.
And I've watched more of them than I have Notre Dame this year, so I'd have to lean towards them. So I try to look at the other side of the ball on defense, and tackle numbers I think could be misleading. The biggest advantage that I see here is the sack total for both teams. Notre Dame has 38 on the year. Ohio State has 51.
Wow.
So that is a statistically large enough, gap that I would say, I think Notre Dame should start to worry. Now, Buddy did bring up a good point that the quarterback tends to keep it and run it more than throw. So if you have that mobile quarterback, you may be able to escape a good number of those sacks. So if you're looking at some of these pass rushers, folks on the outside that can keep that Notre Dame quarterback penned up in the middle, it's going to be Ohio State. The other thing that I did look at, though, that does help Notre Dame quite a bit is they have 19 interceptions to 10 for Ohio State. So almost double the number. And then I was looking at fumbles, pretty close. Notre Dame was 16, Ohio State with 15. So, both kind of have their own strength there on defense. Buddy is saying the Notre Dame defense does control the games more, so you have a slower pace and lower scoring games. Notre Dame tends to just do enough to win and not blow out teams. And see, I think when you look at this defense production, Ohio State may not walk out of there with, 38 points or something, but they very well could just win because Notre Dame can't slow them down enough.
All right. And Hal Connie Cleary, good to see you tonight. We just talked about how we were watching the game the other night, and Drew Haller threw that pick right after I was talking about it. But good to see you tonight, Connie. Yeah, I don't know, JT. This is the game. Okay. Are you DM'd her? All right, cool. Thank you.
What's your perspective on this? What's your take?
It's I'm kind of like Brogan. What are feeding them at Ohio State? My brother Grogu tried to sneak in some frog eggs. I'll be honest. It's this matchup is what bothers me with what's happened with college football. I mean, Ohio State's there, and they're by far the largest NIL. It's just we're going to ruin college football. It's nice with the expanded playoffs, but when every game's a blowout, when every game at the end, it's the team that's got the most money, has the deepest roster because they can pay them like the Dallas Cowboys of the 90s, it does start to cheapen and affect the quality and the spirit of the competition at the college level. I look at Notre Dame as doing something astounding against Georgia on the defense. I'm still not sold on their offense. I mean, Riley Leonard, make him throw the ball down the field on you, and not just dink and dunks. Make him throw the ball. He was forced to a little bit in this last game. He did have to throw a little bit more against Penn State. Penn State played him tougher. I'm afraid that it's Notre Dame's defense will not be enough to carry it in this game. I don't think Riley Leonard, even though he threw for 200 yards this last game, can quarterback a game and carry a team against somebody like Ohio State because he runs too often. Now, watch it happen. We watch the game the way this season's been going. He'll run for 200 yards, and they'll
of course
keep it. But see, and I think Buddy really assesses it, and I'm not giving my pick away yet. But this is everything on paper. Like I told you, that the guy in Tennessee that did the analysis comparing 5-star recruits between school, the NIL between the two schools, everything on paper says, and you mentioned some stats that say Ohio State should win it. But like Buddy says, that's why they play the game on the paper. So, and make sure y'all hit that like button, folks. Make sure y'all come in. Please hit that like button. We appreciate that. Share it out if you can. We may hit some other things. So, yes, I would say it is. Jess said my uncle called this a real Midwest college football final. Yes, it is.
Yep,
a
true Midwest classic.
True Midwest schools. So, and it'll be playing in Atlanta, I believe. So, go figure. Oh my gosh, the Devils are still tied with the Florida Panthers at 1 in the third period. Because hey, hockey season's here. We may start hitting some new stuff as we come up with things. But in terms of this game, JT, that's kind of where I see with this game is that the paper says Ohio State. You talk about their depth. They don't have the one solo dynamic wide receiver that they had last year, but they still have weapons all around. They've got a quarterback that can run or get the ball out to who he needs to. It's hard not to pick Ohio State in this game. So where you're trapped in between, you don't want to pick either team to win. You sort of have to go one way or the other. So, but that in a nutshell is what I've got here with this game. I'm surprised like players like Quinshon Judkins gave up his role at Ole Miss to become a team at have to split time there at all right. Thanks for reminding me about that site, JT.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? For
guys
like us.
I forgot about this site because I've used it the last few years when I've done things. Folks, what JT shared was Winspedia. Thank you for sharing that up. I couldn't even think about these two teams playing again. But this is a site I used earlier this year in some of my shows. But here, they played 8 times. It seems like they would have played more than 8 times, But they've only played since 1995, though, it looks like.
No, that's the largest margin of victory.
No.
And then the win streak is 95 to 2000.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, how do I see 6-2?
That's because that's the win streak. So Ohio State has been on a win streak from 95 to 23.
Well, they never played since 1936. They never played since 1936. That's what amazes me. They had not played in 60 years, and then it's 1936, 7-2. Gotta love that one.
Yeah.
Oh my God! The 2016, the Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl.
Hey, that's the bowl system for you.
There you go.
But
so in the modern era, Ohio State won every game against Notre Dame. In the pre-World War II days, Notre Dame won the 2 matchups. But I see that's where I would have thought that these teams would have played at least a couple of times over the course of 60 years.
If you look at Michigan or Michigan State against Notre Dame, that matchup is much more full in that history. But the fact that they have been playing since 95, this is much more than, say, if Ohio State's going to play Ole Miss or Ohio State's going to play just for S's and G's, South Carolina or Arkansas, right? So this is a great site just trying to look at some of this stuff. But you're right. In the modern era, Ohio State's been eating their lunch, calling their mom. Taking their mom out, not calling the next day.
42-26, 6 in a row, 18-13 back in 1935. You triggered something in my memory that I wanted to see something here. Because I remember Notre Dame used to play Michigan State frequently, didn't they? I know they used to play Michigan all the time. right? Because that was like
Yes.
wasn't that an annual series? Was it the expansion of the Big 12 of the Big 10 that caused that series to stop?
That and there was some argument over TV money, of course.
Okay. Yeah, because looking at the full games list where there not as many games, but they had played all the way they played well every year
Yeah,
since
keep
it looks
going
like
down. Yeah.
since 1978. They
Yeah.
played every year since 1978 all the way up to the 2014 season. Then it's every this is the thing like this. This was one of the great rivalries of all time. Whether you liked either team or not, it was always kind of cool to see these two teams getting together. And these are the matchups that we're going to lose with the new modern college football. We did save Texas A&M because of two teams joining the same conference, but I mean, you miss these type of rivalries games. And I tell you, that's one of the problems I see the danger with the money in college athletics right now is that all of what made college football what it is, the bands, the pageantry, the tradition, it doesn't mean anything. And it can't mean anything when a player can just leave after a year. Or they, like it this year, UNLV's quarterback said he didn't get paid, wasn't going to get paid under the NIL. The way the school said he quit. He quit playing before the end of the fourth game, so he could he could transfer somewhere else. You can also look at the other side of it for the player side. The schools also have it as like a 1-year contract, so it's a dirty business too. But it was so hard this year preparing for the SEC show because half the friggin' good SEC players ended up one in Washington, one in Ohio State. New players on these rosters. It's like I can't even recognize the Gator team anymore. It's just those are the threats I see to the modern college game. If you're lucky to keep your quarterback coming back, or any of your players, you're lucky these days. So, but sorry, I know that was a squirrel off of the Ohio State Notre Dame matchup, but yeah, Notre Dame playing. See, that's what would make Notre Dame more respectable. Get the Michigans back on the on the thing. Now it may have been Michigan that forced them off. I don't know, but if Notre Dame could get the Michigan or some of the teams, forget the service academies. Notre Dame shouldn't be playing the service academies because those are just automatic wins like we saw this year.
Right.
It's just.
Right.
You're playing teams that can't throw the football. They're forced to try to run. They're outsized by, there's no chance. It's like playing a Division I AA school, as far as I'm concerned. But hey, they can beat some other teams.
Hail to Santa Megatron, aka Stunning and Brave Megatron.
Stunning, yes. Good to see you tonight, Stunning. Yeah, you're pardoned. So. He's always up to something.
If folks want to dig into the stats, I just put it into the chat.
There you go. So, folks, this is a site I was using at the first of the year, and I've used in prior years, especially when the SEC games came up, because some of these series started before 1900. As you look in this game, the first Michigan Notre Dame game, November 23rd, 1887. Just like 22 years after the end of the U.S. Civil War. So
that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. 1888, they played a game where Michigan won the game 10-4. So you can find out crazy things like that with that Wikipedia.com, and you can search for whatever schools you would like to search for.
In a lot of those games that you see in there where they're playing with leather helmets or no helmets at all, those are the ones that you see the pictures of with Notre Dame quite frequently because they were pretty dominant back at that time in the game. So was Michigan too. Let's see here. So, I have this. Dadman, you're going to love this.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We can just do this real quick. Guess who made a bold championship pick for the Notre Dame Ohio State game? It's so bold. Urban Meyer,
Oh boy.
your favorite coach of all
Oh boy.
time.
Well, he took Ohio State, right?
Ohio State covers the spread, Meyer said. I think Notre Dame is going to, the defense is going to keep this thing close. It's going to be low scoring at half, and then the Buckeyes will walk away in the second half.
See, here's the way I look at this game, Cohen.
Bold, folks. So bold. I'm glad the article told me how bold.
Oh yeah, we need to pick this game. But I will tell you, I look at this going two ways. I think he's an idiot.
I know. That's why I picked it.
I think that this game goes one of two ways. Either Notre Dame has to keep the game close. This has the type of game that either Ohio State will blow this game out. It will be like the Georgia-Texas Christian national championship a few years ago. Not that bad. Nothing will be that bad. But it will be over early.
Mm-hmm.
Or Notre Dame keeps us around. And I think Notre Dame keeps it around, Notre Dame wins. I think Ohio State only wins if it's a track meet. Notre Dame, if they can keep it close, I think they win. One of the things I would say, field goal kicking. Notre Dame's kicker has proven himself in the playoffs and down the stretch of the season. I've seen him make some game-winning kicks. And Ohio State's kicker missed a couple against Michigan at home, when they needed the points. So I that's where I think in a battle of close games, I think Notre Dame has the advantage. But, good for that. So we're going to go ahead and tell you what we think, folks. Tell us who do you think. Tell us about your picks. Tell us who you think will. Oh God, follow Dave. Oh wow, I'm sure some people in Ohio thought about that. Yes, 12 people with us tonight. Thank you, folks. Please do not leave. We are going to talk a little bit more after we're done with this. I want to tell y'all about some future plans that JT and I have got to talk about a little bit. But feel free, put your picks out there. Buddy says, I think Ohio State needs to score big early. The trap is if Notre Dame is ahead or close at the half. I agree. But BFRMO is thinking the Ohio State blowout, though. Small time Republic's here. Hey, dude. What do you think, JT, since Brian Smelly is your favorite coach in the land?
Oh, that would be, he would be insufferable to listen to, but I would love to see his face. Maybe we just put him in the front row on the 50-yard line or something on the Notre Dame side of the stadium.
I missed it whatever happened, but I think even Small Time Republic might have mentioned it the other night when we were talking. Did Brian Kelly and I think I looked at it somewhere else to confirm it, but didn't Brian Kelly make a comment when he was at one of the reasons he left Notre Dame was he couldn't compete with the SEC schools?
Yeah, pretty much.
So he had to leave Notre Dame to play for a national title. And here he is, still sitting at home.
Yep.
No, good to see a small town Republic.
You could just hear the sorrow in my voice. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you didn't like. I know you wouldn't like the fact of having to watch him and listen to him, but if you could be guaranteed, you could see that reaction.
Oh, it would be priceless. It would be priceless, but I also want Urban Meyer sitting next to him too.
Only thing that make it better is Herbie's there, Kirk Herbstreit, and watching Ohio State get kicked. But let's see.
If I had $1 for every time I had to listen to him,
I know. All right, folks, please hit that like button.
Small Time Republic, by the way.
We got 11 people watching on YouTube. Make sure you've hit that like button. Let's at least get up to double digits. We appreciate it. We are not done yet. We have more to talk about, but okay. Indeed. So feel free, folks. Tell us your picks. B from O said Ohio State in a blowout. Stunning is picking his nose. Follow Davis is going to pick Notre Dame. He's had enough pain this week without having to pick Ohio State. Yeah. I know, buddy. I wouldn't expect you to ride with anybody else. Ride with who got you.
Yeah, and you know what? You deserve it. You've earned it. They're Absolutely. Going to the Natty. So,
all right. Any
No
other
shame,
picks out
no
there?
shame in rolling with Notre Dame on that one this time.
No. Anybody else? Any other picks? JT, I'll let you go ahead before I give mine. How do you see this game working? Who do you pick?
Let's see. I think I see in my crystal ball that always leads me astray. Notre Dame coming out, scoring an early touchdown, and then Ohio State just running the rest of the board for the whole rest of the game. I think that's how it's going to be. Maybe a late game rally attempt by Notre Dame, but I think it will play out exactly like that.
So you're a big believer in the money and the mercenaries.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I've seen my team lose to both of these teams so many times over the years. This is like watching a Big Ten football game almost.
Yeah, I understand. Hello, Mrs. Lurking while working. She's repairing the bear. Snorted poop. It's good to see you. And Buddy says hi, Mrs. This is a game that I've been thinking about, but I'm kind of split with the way it is. Because do you pick with your head? Do you pick with your heart? And my head tells me, like that Tennessee announcer said, look at the NIL, look at the number of 5-star recruits on each team. You mentioned the running back depth at Ohio State. You mentioned all this stuff. They're on fire right now. And usually when teams get fired this late, they don't cool down. They run the table. Notre Dame, though, I cannot get over what I saw with their defense against Georgia. Georgia, had the backup quarterback. They still had Trevor Etienne. They still had a number of weapons, but Georgia couldn't even block the guys. It was just bizarre. And when they turned it up, they turned it up on Penn State. I obviously my head's telling me pick Ohio State, so I'll pick Ohio State to win. But I can't stand Ohio State. I hate Notre Dame too, but I hate Notre Dame less, I think, because I don't want to be told the anything. I like we, so I'll pick Ohio State to win it, but I'm cheering for Notre Dame. How about that?
You're trying to have it both ways, Dadman.
I know. Well, hey, but my official pick is on Ohio State, but I can always reserve the right to cheer against who I pick to win, because I don't mind being wrong. I'm just trying to go where the facts, the figures, paper says to go with it. Because look how bad I've been in the bowl picks already and stuff. Like, I'm going to stick with what the paper, the eye test says, and the eye test says, all the paper test says, and even the eye test, Ohio State. Penn State came back. Notre Dame was brought back a little bit more to the pack. They had ups and downs against SMU. They had up and downs against, Penn State, but Notre Dame did. But I know. I'm sorry, I got Penn State and Notre Dame confused. But I just Notre Dame against Penn State showed me more vulnerability than what I've seen on Ohio State in the teams they played. So I got to go with Ohio State. That's it. That's the pick, but I'm going to cheer for Notre Dame. Why? I'll blame it on Buddy Hepburn. I want my viewers to be happy. Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Buddy, good. Have the hate flow through you. Love it. But yeah. So, folks, anybody else out there pick? How do y'all see this game going? Because the game will be played Monday night. I don't know. Have they set a kickoff for this
7:30 Eastern, so probably closer to 8 o'clock.
8:15 probably.
Yeah. They'll have all kinds of pageantry at the beginning and all this stuff.
Oh, I hate it. Just like,
could you imagine being a player in that, getting all sweaty in the warm-up, then having to stand around for 45 minutes?
No.
That would drive me nuts.
No, it sucks. Well, it looks like New Jersey and Florida are going to a shootout. Oh, see, small-town republic, reluctantly, unfortunately, Ohio State. So, yeah. All right. So, let's see. Let's take a look. We're going to spin off into I think we've done enough on the college bowl games, don't you?
Right.
Yeah,
I think we have.
Because we talked about some of the New Year Day games and stuff like that. There really were not many games that were worth a darn this year. So
Small Time says Ohio State, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then 6:30 is that I think your Central Time is 7:30. Yeah, I know. I like their posted start times. And then 7:30 could be more like 7:50 because then that's when they march the flag out. That's when they do everything else. But hey, so Chewy, let me ask you, Chewy. I know you're a sports fan. Feel free if you don't mind sharing. Who do you think is going to win that? Notre Dame, Ohio State? I'm curious to see what everybody in the chat is. Brogu, if you're still around, who do you pick? So as you're doing that, I'm going to bring up the NFL playoff bracket. So, JT, your team had the week off, right?
Yes, we did. Indeed.
Yeah. And Small Time agrees. Does not care for the Buckeyes, and he also does not care for Alabama too, JT. So, and Chewy says he wants to say Ohio State. Just hope it's a tight game down to the wire. Yeah, we don't need another blowout game. I think for the good of the game and of the, we finally get a playoff system. Most of the games have stunk. I mean, they really have stunk, except for the Penn State Notre Dame game, the Texas Arizona State, and then the Texas Ohio State game was technically close, but like Buddy said, it was a beatdown to a large degree. So, all right. So let's take a look at this. Let me see. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit in size. Hopefully it's still large enough. All right. If it's not large enough, let me know. So I love it, Snort Poopus. You participated. Going on a limb, predicting team scoring the most points will win. Absolutely.
There was a great guy named John Madden who would say basically the same thing. And he was so profound, they gave him his own video game.
Yeah. Of course, you don't care if they fold up. I'm sorry. Folks, if you love Ohio State, I don't blame you. Be proud of your team. But just it is annoying with when the emphasis on the in front of their name. It's like, okay. It'd be like the Seminole fans, the Florida State University. No, you were a girls' school first. The University of Florida was the flagship university of the state of Florida. You were a girls' school, and then you became a co-ed school and added football later on. It wasn't until Bobby Bowden came around you had some respect. Right. I love that sort of people. That's wonderful. Buddy says Coco Jones. Who the hell is Coco Jones?
Ooh, okay.
To perform national anthem, no celebrity halftime show at least. That's good.
At least let the marching bands have their day.
Yep.
And put them on the damn TV for once, please.
Yeah, exactly. And Chewy says a close game gives every talking national and local sports talking heads coast something to chat when folks wait to either give or to take. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, they joined ACC. They're still a girls' school.
Oh,
wow. You can see there is no love for the Atlantic Coast Conference in the South. There's not. No. Especially when the bastards screwed the city of Jacksonville over with their damn championship game.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard that rampage before.
I have. You? Oh, indeed. I have.
It's like 3 years and we get shit small school teams you send here, and you wonder why the people didn't go support it. Hell, there are like 20 people in the Boston College marching band. I mean, what the hell do you expect? Not everybody in Jacksonville likes football like I do. They were cheap tickets, though, for sure. But anyway, I won't digress on that. Let's take a look at the NFL for you folks that like the NFL. We will do that. We're expanding beyond the college tonight. So, and actually,
that's about as much as I can sing before it's,
Yeah, looks like Florida. Yeah, Florida wins in the shootout over the Devils. So 2-1 in the shootout. Boo! The first hockey game I watched this year, and my Devils end up tying. But all right. Exactly. Even Boston doesn't care about Boston College. There was a video I saw somewhere about what happened, and I need to go back and find that on YouTube and watch it, because they talked about what happened to college sports in the Northeast. It's like it just died.
Mm-hmm.
and just oh, Buddy said it's the All Coast Conference now. Thanks. Yeah, because Buddy's teams went to the Atlantic Coast. But let's take a look at this week's action in the wild card rounds. The Texans beat the Chargers 32-12, and that wow, very one-sided game.
Well, first of all,
yeah,
I only had one incorrect game, and I will let you pick, Dad Man, which game I got wrong.
Okay, well, let me see. We'll see.
Have to, do your thing, but I'd be interested to see which game you think I got wrong.
Okay, well, the Texans beat the Chargers. We're not even going to look at the score on that because I watched very little of the NFL this weekend. We were busy on other stuff this weekend. The Ravens beat the the Ravens beat the Steelers 28-14. Nice butt stomping they had there. The Bills and Broncos. This is a game I did have on Sunday. Broncos scored first on a long touchdown pass from Bo Nix.
They did.
And then they start talking about how Bo Nix is the next John Elway, Mr. Horseface.
Yes, of course they did.
Who hated Tim Tebow. So he's going to subvert Bo Nix. I'm telling you, the man will not let Bo Nix if Bo Nix gets very good and popular in Denver, he will run him out of Denver. No quarterback will ever be allowed to supersede Elway in his opinion up there. But
I don't understand this. No matter what network they're on, no matter what people they have doing the commentary,
they keep showing Elway like they do Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, and it's this quarterback is the next quarterback for the Broncos. That'll be the best quarterback ever in professional football. And I'm like, is this the shtick that they're supposed to run with? Because the Broncos fan base loves that. Because even on NBC, I think it's probably the worst out of all of them. But every network does that every time.
Quit kissing Elway's ass is my thing. But Chewy has to go in a second. But he said, hope to see the Lions beat the Commanders. So that puts him in good stead with you, JT.
Yeah,
he likes Jay Daniels,
but he's a high class gentleman. What can I say?
Yeah, he dislikes the Washington team as a whole. Ownership GM wish Snyder was still right. I do too because they suck again. But yeah,
I think RG3
but then again, I'm a cowboy. But I'm a cowboy. But I'm a Cowboy fan. I got no right to talk about anybody, especially if Prime Time becomes our coach now. Go ahead and just do it, Jerry. Just go ahead and do it. It's a train wreck. Your friggin' organization there. Bring Prime Time to Dallas. Anyway, I don't care.
Well, we're calling them the Washington football team here in town. We're not calling them that other name. Any of the other names because Washington football team is the most ridiculous.
Chewy said before he has to go, Ravens Bills out of all the divisional games will be must-see TV. Winner heads to AFC Championship game and a battle of two MVPs. Absolutely. That's what's coming up. Chewy, I hope you can stay around, but if you don't, thanks for your input there tonight. We appreciate it. I want to make sure you get that. Got those in while you're still here. Small Time said, I guess my point is college football is not big in the Northeast. There are a million colleges there. Yeah, there are, and I think probably because look at the pros. You got the Eagles. You look at Major League Baseball, hockey. You got so much big time, huge professional leagues that it may have sucked the air out of the room for the colleges. Maybe there's a cultural thing. I don't know. Fallout Dave said nobody can challenge Elway as God in Denver. But he says though Harvard games are way better than Boston College games. And
I would expect, yeah.
Yeah, Dave said my wife tells me they were so obsessed with Elway in Denver, the media would report on what he gave out Halloween candy. Oh gosh. And Chewy has to work late night, gotta head out. Hey, good luck, dude. Hey, hopefully. Hey, listen, if I ever get back to doing overnight streams, check me out. And folks, also check out the Mrs. channel, Mrs. Dammit JT. Can you work on that link for me real quick?
Sure.
Because she also is on Twitch. I'm going to put her Twitch channel because, Chewy, I know a lot of times that you're on the Twitch side. Sometimes she does really late night streams. And if you're not subscribed to her or follow her over there, you might be able to. If you're ever on a grave, I used to do a lot of overnight shows, but I had to get rest. But her channel, I'm going to bring up here for you folks to follow her on Twitch also. Because people do watch on the Twitch side. Thank you, JT.
You're welcome.
So, yeah. Let's see. All right. So I'm slow. I can't type and talk. But yeah, there you go. Because actually, she started doing the 2:00 in the morning on Saturday nights. Yeah. There's the misses on YouTube, and there is her on Twitch. So, but yeah, she started Saturday night with the 2 a.m. Insomniac Theater. Watch Godzilla -1. It's Friday night into Saturday morning, and then Saturday morning at 10 a.m. she did her cartoon show. So, but yeah, so feel free to check her out. Appreciate the support for her channel there. Buddy says he'd like to see the Bills on the AFC side. Okay with Lions or Rams in the NFC. Like to see. All right. Fallout Dave said he already thinks the NFL has decided on the Chiefs and their refs making the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
that first round game, that Bills game, did you watch most of that game?
I watched a lot of that game. Yeah, I had it on, but I was actually keeping up with it while I was.
I have no idea what Vegas thought the result of this game would be, but I think that this was probably one of the worst matchups. Actually, I think it's the worst game in the entire playoffs. I don't think the Broncos had any right to be in there, but hey.
Well, it's slotted by
well, they're the last wild card. Yeah, they're the last wild card. I thought they just had a way too easy walk into that spot, and if the AFC had any better competition whatsoever, they never would have been close.
Yep. All right.
Whereas the Pack, as the other 7th seed, they were a really, really good football team.
Yeah. So the Ravens Steelers should have been a better game. I know it was hyped up to be more than what it was, but not so surprised with the Ravens at home. I just can't believe Lamar Jackson is an all-good quarterback. He ran too much, and I'm amazed that he's still healthy, as much as he does. I want to bring up something, though.
That's what I'm always concerned when I see that guy.
God, this guy's a monster. This friggin' guy, though, is a monster, folks. This son of a bitch, Derrick Henry, he's a class guy from Northeast Florida. He was up in Yulee. He played at Yulee High School. Look at that. The Tennessee wrote him off, whatever. Jerry Jones, we got no running back. What do? Go get Ezekiel Elliott when you could have had Derrick frickin' Henry.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's a friggin' monster. 26 carries, 186 yards, 7 yards of freaking carry. The years they played the Jaguars, that's another hometown guy that Jaguars wouldn't take for whatever stupid reason. We draft punters in the 4th round in this town, but won't take a hometown product because we're whatever. But they bring Mac Jones back to town as a backup quarterback for a little bit, and he doesn't anyway. But Derrick Henry, the kid's a great class act, guys. It is so good to see him. He's 31 years old, though, now. Wow. He's just amazing how time flies. Let's see what his total yards. Almost 2,000 yards rushing this year. Look at that, JT.
Average almost 6 yards a carry.
And Tennessee didn't want him anymore. Jerry Jones wouldn't go get this guy, but we'll bring back Ezekiel Elliott. And I agree, Small Town Republic. I agree. I agree. Because it annoys me in college. I want a damn third back. You didn't see them taking Emmitt Smith out on 3rd down. No. They started that stuff with Fred Taylor here in Jacksonville. Fred Taylor would have been a much more productive back, more statistically generating of offense had they left him inside the 20-yard line. He got all the yards inside into the 10, and then they take him out. I'm like, damn it, work these damn running backs. I mean, and Derrick Henry's a big guy. I mean, the way he forearms, stiff arms, everybody shoves him down. They can't even touch him. It was a comical one run he had against the Jaguars for like a 90-something yard touchdown run. So, oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm trying to see. Let's see his recent games. I wonder if he. That's just from this year. I wonder if bio. Let's see here. No stats. All right, let's go back to the stats. Wow.
These are just regular season stats too.
Yeah, but still, 1,200 yards on a bad Tennessee team, and it's like I just don't get it. I just don't get.
And he does that, and they have Andrews at tight end, right? Who can definitely play too.
I'm like, I just don't understand it. And I love those bell cow running backs, because it's for flow, consistency. I mean, how many times your players sub in and then they, throw off the timing of a play or, of course, if you want to run your offense fast, you sub out running back, you got to wait and let the defense sub. So I love the Jags losing because of the post-game shows and Monday morning local radio shows, because they become a riot then. They really do. They really do. So, yeah. So, Godzilla One was the first thing you watched when your dad activated Netflix after Christmas. Watched it 3 times. Dude, it was awesome. It was awesome. Miss and I did a stream on that earlier this year. But, yeah, hopefully you can watch it black and white soon. And you get to see that movie Claws. I think your family would like that movie. Okay, Chiefs Texans 1-4 matchup this week. Is that on Sunday or is that Saturday games?
Oh gosh,
that's Saturday. It's Saturday.
Okay.
It's Saturday. Bills Ravens are on Sunday. That Bills Ravens game does look to be the best. Is it going to be cold? Wonder if we'll have lake effect snow again in Buffalo. That would be interesting to see if they do. Chiefs, Texans, I mean, we pretty much know how that's going to go. Even if the game is close, the officials will have something to say about it. So then over the wild card weekend in the NFC, the Rams beat the Vikings 27-9. And the Commanders beat the Buccaneers 23-20. Was there some controversy I thought about the end of this game because Washington kicked a game-winning field goal, but I think Tampa Bay had some questions about the officiating at the end of the game. I was reading Twitter right.
Bottom line, it's Trash Bay for a reason. Yeah, they were 3.
Oh God!
Because that division.
Really, buddy? I did that? Oh, jeez! Damn it! Thank you, buddy. I meant now. We are now talking. Thank you, buddy. All right, we are.
Yeah, that was then. This is now. Yeah,
I'm like, exactly. Dang it! Thank you, buddy. What would I do without these great mods here?
That whole thing with the Bucks Washington football team game, I didn't see a problem with it. I mean, okay, but the fact that Trash Bay was third. I'm happy that the NFL said they were going to look at how they're going to do the seedings for the divisional winners. Okay, fine, you win your division, you get in. Yeah. Fair enough if you want to do it that way. Third, I mean, that was a gift to the Commanders or the Washington football team. That really was.
Mm-hmm. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say the interesting game was Rams-Vikings on this one. Now, Matt Stafford has played for the Lions and was a big-time loser with the Lions for over a decade. But then he did win that Super Bowl with L.A. The curious thing is he fumbled the ball, and the Vikings returned it for a touchdown in the second quarter, and they would have been up. And the refs totally gave that gift, saying that it was a forward pass, and it was definitely not a forward pass. And they didn't really start walking away till just before halftime, but you see that the Rams did not score more than a field goal in the second half. And
Yeah,
to
just one
that
field goal
point,
in the third quarter. Yeah.
yep. And here's the thing about Matt Stafford. He never figures out how to play 4 quarters of football. And you can see that by the fact that he did nothing the second half. And out of all of these, yeah, the Rams are a veteran experienced team, especially with that Super Bowl win in recent memory. I really thought Minnesota had a better chance. I think maybe the issue was the Lions beat them up too much the week before.
Yeah.
Quite possibly. But this game being 27-9 really kind of betrays how close it actually was for most of the time. And like I said, if the refs hadn't gifted them that touchdown, it would have been 16-27.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
Buddy said he would have preferred the Bucks. Teams can't let it come down to that though. And the officiating has been all over the place though.
It has.
You know, it's surprising because these are pro officials. They made them full-time employees, didn't they? Supposedly
they did.
Being all this
Roughly.
stuff, and we're still getting the same crap we always got. Kind of like college playoffs, you know, we still have the same debates, issues, and questions. So, hey, Bowsette, see Bowsette, see that? Fuck this algorithm, you know.
Well, and I was having troubles too. I was actually in your stream for next week because that's the one that it promoted. Was the one a week from now. And I was sitting in there for a minute going, where is everybody? We've been on for like 5 minutes.
Well, that's why sometimes, folks, when I send 40 tweets out, that's why I send so many tweets out, whether it's my channel or the Mrs. channel, because of this thing here. Is, you know, of course, Bowsette, Buddy Hepburn told me I typed, we're not talking NFL playoffs. I meant now we're talking playoffs. But hey, I'm so glad you're here. Good to see you too. Hey, feel free to pick on the NFL if you want to a bit. We're okay with that. But yeah, it's just I mean, what can you do? That's why I send 400 tweets. Sorry, everybody.
It messed up for the misses too. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Going
back.
You know what makes it great? You know what makes it great though is hearing the stories and the accounts of people that do go through the effort to look and find me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you don't have to. You can just say, "Oh, okay, well, we don't." But the fact that you actually take the time, fight the algorithm, and say "fuck you" and come in here and join us. And yes, I say that on purpose about this bullshit algorithm stuff. You know, because it's like, you know. Anyway, it is what it is. I'm grateful for everybody that's here. Yeah, you saw the knot. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was not clickbait. I promise you on that one. That was old man mistyping. So, but now, yeah,
the last couple of weeks, Dad man, I don't know if this is just me and some confirmation bias, but it seems to me like we've been getting far more defensive holding than we normally would. It doesn't always seem like about 90% of all the holding will be on the offense.
Normally,
yeah. Now I've seen more defensive holding calls, I feel like, than I ever have.
Well, the problem is that gets very inconsistent. There's so much judgment. And when does it happen? You got to let them have contact within 5 yards of the line. I saw one day that they called a holding. It was right within the line of scrimmage. I'm like, now somebody else said it was an okay call, but I'm like, we'll see. Oh, and one other
always happen when the team that they want to win really needs that play on like a third or a fourth down. It seems like that keeps getting called. And again, I may be just imagining this all in my mind, but I'm sitting there going, defensive holding on a 4th and 3 that they didn't get, and suddenly, oh look, they have a first down.
Oh yeah, magically, yeah. I'll have to watch you on Twitch sometime about that. Then I type all over the place. We call it Dad Man Ease sometimes. We're up to 14 people though magically now. Hey, 13 on your side, tube side. Thank you, everybody,
That,
for
by the
being
way.
here. We're
Reading.
still, yeah, but it only says 8 likes. So, folks, make sure y'all hit that like button. It's appreciate it. I don't know. We'll figure out what happens with that one, but I don't know. We're not worried about it. We're having fun here, but if you could hit that like button, I'd appreciate it. The last game of the week was Eagles and Packers. I feel bad about this. I really wanted the Packers to win because I really wanted the Packers to win this week. I wanted the Packers to win next week because I wanted you and Rennie back on.
Oh yeah.
I was hoping for that.
That was fun.
Yeah. But I will say that this game, and who watched this game? JT, this pissed me off. Okay. I saw people mocking the Packers fans. And I do not have love for the Packers being the Cowboys fan. And we're usually their playoff bitches, in recent years as a Cowboys. That opening kickoff was bullshit. Now, some people were saying the Packers fans would claim about the guy, it was not a fumble, whatever. Yeah, because he got out fought for the ball. But if we're going to be fair, if we're going to do this crap about defenseless receivers, targeting, helmet to helmet, what about that tackle the Eagle player put on that Packers guy with the crown of the helmet going right up under his jaw, the front of his face mask? Was that not targeting? I mean, honestly, I'm not yelling at you, JT. It pisses me off.
And you're hitting on a
we're sissifying his rules
for me with targeting.
Well, go ahead. Feel free. Let's kick the door open with it. I mean,
I definitely see the need for it on one hand, but I definitely think that it is called way, way too often for accidents. People would like to say, "Oh, that's a targeting call," blah blah blah. At the end of the day, you're running as fast as you can. Your adrenaline's going. Somebody else is running as fast as they can. You have a split second to just jump at somebody, dive at somebody, juke, do all kinds of things. They're doing all kinds of footwork, and you just got to try to stop them and wrap them up and take them down. Yeah, sometimes your helmet might get close to their helmet or might make contact, but when you left your feet or when you decided to go down and initiate that contact, they might have been standing up a half second before, and so there's just all this quote unquote targeting that I see out there all the time. That's way too overzealous by the referee. That, it's to me, it's like maybe you cussed out the ref on the field and now they're looking for a way to get you back, kind of like vindictiveness that I see in some of this that maybe doesn't exist, but it goes way too far.
Sometimes. But with the way they call it, with the standards that they do, that play, should that have been a penalty?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one.
Like Buddy said, the dude headbutted the guy. Yeah. And I agree. I agree with small time. Reserve the targeting for the guys that are clearly launching, because you have, like you said, somebody bows down and, it's the movements and then up the incidental head contact. But this guy came right up through the bottom of his face mask. It just was like, if you're going to have it in this league, and Balzette, I'm coming back to your comment. I come back to your comment on that one too. So Balzette's got several good comments here. All right, but in this case, it was because I'm curious what you think on that Small Time Republic on that kickoff. Do you think that it should have been called there? Which also leads to my other question. This whole safety thing about this now stupid. We're going to stand 5 yards from each other and hold hands and sing Kumbaya kickoff things. That shows you that does not cut down on the
3
impact.
verses of Kumbaya too.
Yeah, right. But that shows you the impact does not stop on that, because he drilled the shit out of that guy. And that's okay. And Bowsette, yes, I'm for that. It's a full contact game. I agree with that. That's the way it should be.
And a lot of times that guy blacks out and gets taken away on a stretcher with that kind of hit.
Yeah.
Not every time, but a lot of times. And that's why that targeting is supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Is to discourage that type of action.
Right.
Now they don't call that, and it goes, to an ambulance ride. That kind of crap is something that they are trying to cut out, and I just don't think they're doing a very good job.
Yeah, and this was one that was like, especially considering the way they call a lot of stuff now. It's like, and buddy, it should have been, because yeah, this and it made me mad because I mean, I'm like you, that it's a contact sport, stuff happens, and that's the way it is, because we complain about the officials. There's so many rules these officials have to do. So many times it involves judgment calls and stuff, and
Mhm.
they're going to make mistakes and stuff like that, and that's what happens. And so you didn't see it. Just don't like the college wording on the forcible contact of the head in there. I agree. I hate that wording. But if you get a chance, small town Republic, the defenseless player. No, I agree with you. Hey, that's why they used to have alligator arm receivers come across the middle. It was the intimidation of the game. You didn't, people would psych themselves out. The game went. It is what it is. But if you go back, look at the opening kickoff again for that game and see if you want to when you have time, small town Republic, because to me, and also two things. One, it was blatant targeting with the tip of the helmet going under the guy's face mask, right in his jaw. I'm surprised the guy didn't have a broken jaw after that. And two,
Mhm.
this whole thing about the stupid kickoff distancing, it shows you those guys still get up to speed that quickly. There's still a great impact. This bullshit about, well, we'll make them closer, make them wait, and then it'll reduce the impact. Bullshit. These guys are big, they're strong, they're fast.
You're gonna have to put them like 10 yards out
Yeah.
before they don't have enough runway. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, I mean, yeah, and it is a major issue what happened. In this case, Bowsette, yeah. Normally I don't care what happens to Green Bay Packers, because they've ruined my Cowboys season quite a few times. But this it burned me up from, like, with Small Time's talking about how he doesn't like the definitions in college, and it kind of aggravates him. That's what happened to me, because they have called so much weak ass shit in the NFL and in colleges. And this is a case that got the sound was so loud you could hear it over the
Oh yeah.
crowd noise.
Yeah.
He got blown up, and I'm amazed the guy didn't have a broken jaw after that. Much less be. I'm amazed even fault for the football, JT.
Hmm.
I mean, he really
Yeah.
almost come that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
I
mean, like I
do.
said, a lot of times those guys just black out
Yeah,
because
I,
you basically just got in a car accident
yeah,
with that kind of hit.
exactly. And that's the hit that
Yeah.
was the other day. That's where your targeting rules should be enforced. In the old days, it was spearing. They didn't want people to use their helmets into people and stuff, even in the back and other parts. But yeah, I do agree with that. That's what they turned the All-Star game into, the Pro Bowl. So watch that. I did want Belzad. I also had another great comment up here. Cowboys haven't done squats since Pete Huntley surprised they still on team in Dallas. I think you, as well as
You got
everybody.
a long way to go before they take a team out of Dallas. A
I
long way.
know, but well, Jerry's done it by himself, just being general manager.
If they've kept the Jets in New York and the Lions in Detroit, yeah, the Cowboys are staying in Dallas.
See, I saw this one too, a no call on a horse collar. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So, but hey, by the way, let's hit this one real quick. I'll still pick that game. Since we talked about
do you have the bracket still?
yeah, I got the bracket. Let me see. Yeah. So
I think we covered the wild card round.
Yeah, that's targeting led with the crown of his helmet. Yeah, dude, It was like the tip of the. It was anyway. But what also got me to think, this deal about the kickoff rules. It shows you they can still collide just as forcefully, if not more so, at a distance. Okay, so we got the Chiefs, Texans, Bills, Ravens. We got a 1-4 here. We got the Commanders and the beating the Bucs. So we got 1-6, 2-4. The game you wanted me to get the game that you got right, correct?
The game that I got wrong. So I had all correct games picked except for one.
I think probably the Ravens Steelers.
No. I actually called that one. I called
Viking,
that one. The one
Viking,
that that I biffed on big time was Rams Vikings
Okay.
because the Vikings had more wins. I thought they had better quality wins. They lost to the Lions twice, which was most of their losses, and the
Yeah.
Lions are the number 1 seed. Now, I also have a big dislike for Stat Padford, quarterback there on the Rams.
Yeah.
So, and I know the dude can't play 4 quarters of football.
Yeah.
I know it.
He couldn't at Georgia either. So hey.
Yeah, and they didn't. They still didn't play 4 quarters of football. What I did not count on was the Vikings just, pooping the bed when it came to their offense. That was probably. I know Sam Darnold can cave under pressure pretty bad there. I just did not think it would be 9 points in a whole football game bad. So all the other ones, I'll pat myself on the back. I did pick them. The Chargers stank. Steelers were a paper team. Broncos didn't even deserve to be in. The Pack, like you, I really wanted them to win.
Yeah.
I just knew the Eagles are a competent enough football team still that
they didn't look great though. The Eagles didn't look great.
They looked terrible.
They just, that one early touchdown they only had to move like 15, 20 yards for, and just, So,
Commanders, the Washington football team, I knew they were going to win against Trash Bay. I thought that the fact that it was 23-20.
Why is Baker Mayfield still an NFL quarterback?
No idea. No idea.
Tampa Bay drafted Kyle Trask out of Florida a few years ago, who actually played pretty well for it. But for some reason he can't get on the field. But Baker Mayfield is only going to get you so far. He's not.
I think maybe part of the problem is they did a lot of wheeling and dealing to get Tom Brady in there and win now, and they might just have a lot of bad contracts. Well, I don't really dive deep into a team that doesn't matter to me, to tell you the truth. They're an afterthought.
Well, I hope Kyle Trask would have gotten a shot there. It seemed like a good fit at one point till Tom Brady went in, and then still with for some reason he's still on the bench. But Tampa Bay's they're not going. They might as well. They can get the 3 seed because of the division they're in, but they're not going to go anything with Baker Mayfield. He's hit his ceiling. Either give Trask or one of your young quarterbacks a shot, or go find you a new quarterback somewhere if you want to excel. By the way, they're wasting Mike Evans and all the other talent that's on the team while they're doing that. So,
yep, 100%.
Balzat said that insane tackles, rough hits are what the XFL was supposed to be. Yes, they even started instead of a kickoff, they just threw the ball out at the 50-yard line and both teams ran for it. It was amazing back in the day. Saw the Memphis Maniacs QB legitimately get knocked out at the beginning of the game. Dude jumped in the air and laid into the quarterback, arms and legs straight, and the guy got hit like a brick wall.
Oh, no.
Yeah, dude, that's that because Vince McMahon started it with the WWE, and it's like, it's like it was a combination of WWE and football.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
which is entertaining as hell, but I don't need the drama, the scripts or anything. But
so, how do you see this week coming? I'm probably the Chiefs will win over the Texans. I mean, it'd be easy to take.
That's who I have.
It'd be easy to take Stroud, but they're going to die because it's Kansas City. Even if Kansas City only scores 20 points, we'll get plenty of Taylor Swift shots. It'll be a Swiftie concert. The Bills Ravens. I tell you, I hate the Ravens. I hate them. But I love Derrick Henry. I hate the quarterback. But they say he's great, and he just because here's my bias. Here's my bias is that back in the mid 2000s, all quarterbacks had to play under center. They had to drop back from the pocket. They could not run. They could. About my favorite quarterback. And now this is one of the prototypical quarterbacks that's allowed to do everything that was not allowed, that you was told you had to do then. But I tell you, Derrick Henry, the kid's local. He's a good kid. And that's why but I do think legitimately this is a game. I think Josh, what's his name? The Tim Tebow wannabe guy. He wets the beds in the playoff. I mean, he's going to do it again here. He's, I think Lamar Jackson goes in there with Derrick Henry in a running game in the cold like that. I could see the Ravens winning this one up there.
And I have a fear that they will, but for two big reasons. I really want the Bills to win, and I move them forward out of just wish casting this. And those two reasons would be, one, I have an uncle that grew up in Buffalo, New York, and was a Bills fan all through the 80s and had to live through that. Then he moved to Detroit and had the Lions to pick. So the man had many, many, many years of just awful football on both of his clubs. And so now if the Bills could be great, I love to see them make it to a Super Bowl again. The other thing on this is the Bills beat the Lions. Honestly, on a game the Lions didn't want to necessarily need to win for some injury reasons. I'm out for blood. I want the revenge tour in the Super Bowl against the Bills. So
all right. Balzat said it was nuts. Saw the opening, was like, oh shit, this man's about to die on the field. Hey, I will tell you one thing that I remember, folks. Also, when you're subscribed to the channel, like I said, please, I guess we're like one like away from 10. Let's see if we can get that last like. But when you go on like to the channel and you go on the channel link and make sure you find that bell. The bell somewhere. I can't find it on my own dang channel, but
make sure YouTube bell.
Yeah, there's a bell for notifications, and customize it to get all notifications. Okay, there's a bell that you can do it to get all notifications on a channel you subscribe to. Yeah, where it says subscribed, and then you hit notifications. And you should be able to get your notifications when we go live. So there's a way to do that. But so
the Texans Chiefs game is Saturday at 4:30, and the Ravens are playing Sunday at 6:30.
That's nice. Okay, so they flipped it around. So then means we got a night game on the Saturday, Lions and Commanders in Detroit. And then on
that's
Sunday
a Saturday night 8 p.m. game. So I will actually be late to any streaming commitments I've made.
Dude, I'd just tell everybody goodbye. You're no streaming commitments unless Outlaw Bill does a watch party of the game. Then that would be the one I'd go to.
Right.
Everybody else has to wait at that point. But yeah, it's I will say that I don't blame you. Enjoy that one because it's not often I guess the NFL you get more games on TV though than the college because you're not forced to buy the crap. So hopefully y'all do that. So like I said, make sure you hit the bell, find the bell, and make sure you can get your notifications. And we did get the 10th like. Thank you. Commanders, Lions, this is one. How is the depth of the Lions defense, though? Because I think I'd be worried if I was the Lions because Jaden Daniels is a pretty good quarterback. He's actually shown some good tendencies this.
So they've had so many injuries. They've been just totally decimated on the defense. With that being said, they did make some late season signings, and they have returned a few people back from IR. So they are not as banged up as they were when they played the Bills or the week before that. Think like just before Christmas time, they were worse off then. The incredibly cool thing is just seeing how well a lot of the second string or replacements or trades have come in and really stepped up on that. If you look at the games, they have not really let anyone run away, which is great. And if you look at, who were they playing? It was the Vikings. I think the Vikings had 4 trips to the red zone and came up empty 4 times in the first half with their game 2 weeks ago. So, defense is definitely concerned. It's just a matter of here's the real issue. The defense has to stick it in for the first quarter and a half so that the offense has time to warm up. The offense is just slow. it's just slow. They might have one of the lowest scoring first quarters in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
And then they lead the NFL in second quarter
Oh
scoring.
yeah, they
So-
sure poured it on the Cowgirls in the second quarter. So
Yes,
All right,
yes, they did.
so basically, the first quarter offense is derived from the French détour, meaning the toilet.
Although I thought le toilette was French for the toilet.
It's okay. Work with us here, JT. Work with us here.
I thought I was going to say I already thought toilet was a French word anyway.
Le toilette. No, I'll take de toilette. That works. Nice snort of poopus. All right, so like I could see that. I could see. I'd pick Lions too. I want the Lions to win, but I just this dangerous game with the Commanders.
That stadium is loud as shit too, Dad. Man, I've been in there. Man, when everybody gets standing up, that is awful to try to play in.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I think Matthew Stafford's going to run to an end on Sunday afternoon as the Rams go to Philly. Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Yeah, that's what we had to talk about down here. Some friends and I just call it. But yeah, the Eagles should, I would think, easily dispatch the Rams. I don't think, like you said, Matthew Stafford put up 20. Well, he didn't even put up 27 points. The defense helped a lot with that. I think the Eagles probably get healthy and win this game a lot easier.
I have the Eagles walking away with that one. Matt Stafford will try to make it look good. They'll give him some calls because it's Matt Stafford. I don't see the Eagles dropping this one.
No, I got you. So then that probably leads up to what I'm saying is an AFC Championship game should be the Chiefs and the Ravens, and then Lions and the Eagles. So and I think, well, you got the Chiefs and the Bills and the Lions and the Eagles. So we'll just see what will happen.
Our AFC is slightly different, but our NFC picks are the same.
Yeah, it's
so get ready for a disappointing week.
Let's see if
we agree on something, folks. It is never good news.
I was going to see, use the phrase that, see if we could top that, but maybe see if we can bottom it. That's what that was. So I want to take a couple looks, folks. JT and I have got some discussions that we're coming up with. We've been bouncing around on Saturday nights for a lot of scoreboard shows. And JT, I appreciate your help finishing up college football season. It's been a blast.
My pleasure.
We've been talking about trying to do a little bit more sports throughout the year, and we're looking days, times, and trying to make sure things work out. So we hope to cover some other sports, folks. Even like JT's a man of European football. We'll have to talk about what we can get into and stuff over time and all that. So just kind of letting y'all know, we're talking to hope keep this going in some format. Probably not on Saturday nights, because at least like tonight we have more time to explore some of these issues. Because JT, I mean, there's a lot of other sports you're into, not just football, right?
There are. Yeah. You can't give them as much time at this time of year, but yeah. I mean, especially we get in the spring, we'd have the XFL. We also have a lot of the European football. Hey, maybe if we get something, we got Dave Serta that knows about rugby. You know, it's just if I could ever access rugby on television or online, anywhere,
it's like that's the problem is watching it, because I tell you what, the missus loves to watch it. So, birds don't use toilets anyway. Mrs. said to find the notifications, click on the subscribe button. It will drop down a menu that has the notification button. Click on it and select all for all notifications. So make sure you're set to there to click all notifications on your favorite subscribers, but especially this one here and the missus. And then still follow us on Twitter just to be sure you get the other things. So, all right. So Dave, JT, if you check y'all settings, make sure that that's the way y'all have it, and then let's see how that works. But thank you, missus, for figuring that out for me. We got 11 people here still at 2 hours, JT. How about that?
Nice. Very nice. Thank you,
folks,
everybody.
Yes, and we talked about the NFL playoffs, but we're let's take a look real quick at the NHL standings. So you're a fan of what team? I know it's a redundant question, but go ahead.
The Detroit Red Wings.
Are you a fan of
The
any team
greatest,
that's not
the
Detroit?
greatest hockey team there ever was.
Are you as proud of the Detroit Pistons?
No. In
Okay.
fact, they ruined my love for the. Well, I shouldn't say that because there was a prima donna that did that, but no, the NBA pretty much doesn't care about Detroit after like 2005, and we don't care about it. So there are so few NBA fans in this town. I do not care about the Pistons whatsoever. You can go see them for a song. They cost more to park than it does to sit in that stadium. So no, NBA, I don't
Yeah.
care. Whoever's going to win, that's who I root for, and I
Yep.
don't care until like the second to last round of the playoffs.
That's kind of strange though that Detroit basketball, like, because the history of the 80s and 90s,
Yeah,
with Lambeer, Rodman, and all them, and then the fights with the Bulls and the Bird and the Celtics. I mean, it was like, the tradition. You would think the tradition would have kept up with the city, but then it shows that
the league was far better back then too. I mean, the 90s were the golden age of the NBA, and don't let anyone tell you different. So, but now with these super teams and just garbage product everywhere else, I don't understand why anyone would pay for a TV package to watch that team or even go to the game. Honestly, they've done so many tricks with that stadium, covering up seats and doing different camera angles to make the stadium look more full than it is. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. They've gone through a bunch of coaches, a bunch of general managers, more players rotate through there. It's like I just don't care. And then you only get 2 or 3 relevant teams in the NBA anymore because of the way that they're allowed to just say, nope, I'm only going to play with this guy. Nope, I'm only going to play with that guy. And then it happens.
Yep.
And all the talent just gets concentrated in 2 teams.
By the way, the missus found her mistake. She's fixed it. Yay! She had a 5-hour stream earlier on the polar bear, and she had to find the mistake and correct it. But so she's success. Well, to illustrate that point, I skipped back over to the NBA like this. It's like I'll go to the Western Conference. Where the hell did Oklahoma City Thunder come from to be 33
and 6? Yeah.
And then like Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors are now sub 500.
Well, and then players start sitting during games. So it's like if I buy the tickets, am I even going to see the people I'm paying the salaries of? Like, no.
Yeah.
I can understand if the NFL players sit because they're actually hurt. These guys, a lot of times they'll just sit to quote unquote have a rest game. It's like, you're making how many millions a year? You don't get rest games.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that Billy Donovan actually took the job over Oklahoma City, but he's not there anymore. He's actually a head coach for the Chicago Bulls. Oh my goodness!
So the only teams really worth watching right now are probably the Grizzlies, the Rockets, and OKC in the West, and then in the East, Cavs, Celtics. That's it. Yeah. I think the Knicks.
Well, see, the problem I've had with the NBA, it's like worse than baseball. It's like it's really, who cares about 3/4 of the game? The game's won at the end, the fourth quarter at the end. I mean, teams are up 20, 25 points at halftime and lose it in the second half. It's just not uncommon. It's just So yes, exactly. Mrs. Definitely determined when it comes to build. So, but folks, if you like,
they played, it's 34-5 in their 8 games up on the second place team.
6.
Okay, sorry, it's a little hard.
But it's 39. They usually play 82 games, so they still got about 43 games left in the regular season.
So they're basically the midpoint.
Yeah, so folks, if you do like the NBA, maybe we'll keep an eye on this. Just let us know as you thought. Hey, Detroit Pistons, though, they're about 500. JT, going to get those tickets?
No. Why? So they can maybe be a bubble team on the playoffs and just get blown the hell out by a real team.
Well, they're 8-2 in their last 10, but yes, I know. I'm just amazed seeing the Golden State Warriors. Like, I mean, with Steph Curry, yeah, all you hear is Steph Curry, and Steve Kerr, and it's like, well, yeah, maybe you ought to be a little less into politicking and playing basketball. Kerr. Sorry, I mean, like,
Yeah, but see,
it's just
they
like,
move up. They move
yeah.
up 3 more wins, and they'd be in 5th place.
So now
Tied
is
for fifth.
is LeBron? He's still with the Lakers.
He is,
and there's only 3 games over 500.
LeBron ruined the sport for me. Completely ruined the sport.
Yeah,
So,
Bowsette said the whole league is a bubble.
and F him in the horse he rode in on too.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I would like to try to get into baseball this year. I really would. I was going to last year. Everything went sideways. I'd like to try to, if I could find a way to watch the Cubs. That's what I'll do, and I'll have to talk to Max Redstone about the Cubs. Okay, but I gotta. I can't, like you said, I can't pay for a friggin' baseball package like that. They've made it. I mean, at least with what I pay for, JT, I get access to a lot of stuff. But this thing about having to pay just to see one team is like it's over.
I've got a guy that's been doing fantasy basketball for the better part of a decade. He used to go to the games in Miami when he lived down there. He won't even watch the playoffs anymore unless it's some weird, cross-conference matchup where Cleveland's going to play OKC or something.
Yeah, don't they have some ridiculously jacked up like in-season tournament, or the NBA does, or that folks sometimes leave the game the way it is. Don't touch it, and that's why I've had a problem with baseball. Is that the tradition, and I'm losing it with college football. I had never thought I'd ever see that, but all this NIL and what it's doing, and we're going to hopefully have a bigger talk on that one day. It's taking out a lot of the tradition. That's why I didn't mind Nayland North. I like what the Tennessee fans were doing, because you know what? It brought back the kind of that venom of football, of the, some fight and some passion, Yep. I agree with that on the NBA. So we're going to actually watch hockey. I watched my first game tonight. My New Jersey Devils are good this year. So, yay, it's the year to get back into it. They are second in the Metropolitan, not the Neapolitan ice cream. They tied tonight. So I guess it's technically a loss.
And here's the thing here on this. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, they're fourth right now in the Eastern Conference in the playoff seeding. So, hey, not bad. Really enjoy that. Go ahead, JT.
I was going to say, I think that when they rebalanced these conferences, they did a really piss poor job with the conference and the divisions on this, because if you look at the East, Detroit is second from the bottom in their division, and they're over 500. Okay.
Yeah.
The Eastern Conference has 2 teams under 500.
Yeah.
And they're at the bottom. So you know what that means, right? The West is terrible.
1, 2, 3,
terrible.
4, 5 teams under 500. See, why is Detroit not in the West? Because I thought they would have been.
They redid it probably almost 10 years ago now, to move Detroit into the East, rebalance the conferences.
But why?
Well, part of the reason
Detroit should be with Dallas, though.
They wanted a team in Vegas, which would have had putting them in the East wouldn't have made any sense. They wanted Seattle. They wanted Vegas.
Why not put Chicago, for that matter, in the East?
Well,
I wonder if Jess is around. If Jess would like that move or not.
Detroit's further east than Chicago, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay. But what the hell's with the Utah Hockey Club? Damn it. You were Coyotes or Wolves. Take the damn name. You're in the mountains. What is this hockey club crap?
So they added all these additional teams.
They're like
in the
worse than Washington football team.
Yeah. They added these Western teams, so it forced
Detroit. Because the NHL isn't the ACC.
Yeah. So, I mean, Detroit's going to miss the playoffs again, and they
No.
very well may end up with a winning season.
Well, I will tell you
Miss the
that I've seen some
playoffs.
Twitter discussions about the Vegas Golden Knights. And folks, feel free, tell people we're talking hockey tonight. We will probably get into this. I do want to get into hockey this year, and maybe we'll bring out. We'll start me and JT. We'll talk about things because I do want to get more into hockey, and actually having a winning team does help. So I feel for you and your Detroit.
It sucks for me, man, because they're probably not going to miss. I mean, they're going to miss the playoffs at
they're
this
at
rate.
44 because you get what,
and
8?
they're over 500.
Yeah.
They
Well, they're
just
still
as many
close though.
games
They're not.
as the
They're not
NBA.
out. They're not out, but they need a good hot streak. But yeah. But it's just looking at it. But one of the biggest issues that I've heard, because the Vegas Golden Knights have won a few championships, I think they're the newest team, and the way they were granted in by special privilege about some golden, you get the best players. In the old days, you got bullshit. Everybody dumped their injury. I never forget. Jaguars put Baselli on the thing. The Texans drafted him, took him expansion draft. He played 2 games with them because his shoulder was so screwed up. He didn't do much for anything. That's the way the expansions used to be. But as I understand, for Las Vegas, they got special treatment. They got the best of the best. And look at it. And then their fans trash talk everybody else, saying quit complaining. But it's like, look, y'all got an advantage nobody else gets,
and I think that it screws the rest of the game,
and it's because of the city. Again, every time anybody talks about politics and stuff, I think one of the biggest problems that it's coming now, raising its head in college sports with these point managers. There was something when an Ohio State fan was upset when his team scored a touchdown because it messed up his betting margin. Las Vegas, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. There's no reason why Major League Baseball ran from it for all those years, and the college sports and all. Now it's
here's the other thing I've never liked. Okay, I've never liked the Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's see, Carolina Hurricanes, Nashville Predator. Well, it at least snows in Nashville. San Jose Sharks, Anaheim Ducks, LA Kings, and now the Vegas Golden Knights. They all play in the South. You're all in the desert, half you.
Well, Buddy didn't last long. Buddy said, I have no comment on Vegas at this time. Then proceeded, they all got first and second line players, no rookies and third line bench players.
Well, he knew as a mod he couldn't put that kind of language in the chat. On this stream anyway. They have way too many teams in the South. And then they get all this preferential treatment. And then then your original teams get neglected, your Canadian teams get neglected, and that's where people like hockey, is in the North. I'm not sorry. It will always be in the North that people love hockey the most because it gets cold. Stuff freezes over. I could go across the street right now on that lake and put out a goal and ice skate on it and play a game of hockey.
I remember that season, Fallout Dave. Yes, that was a painful loss for the Devils. That was a hell of a. I think Patrick Waugh was the goalie for the Avalanche, and that was a hell of a year though for both teams. Fallout Dave hates Vegas too, but see, that's what Buddy said. Vegas got a benefit. I don't think you should condemn them the way the old days, like when the Bucks came in the NFL, and just you were put in. It's like you were made to be bad. And it took you forever to get better. But what happened in Vegas was beyond ridiculous. The fact that it still kept up that level for so long, they've not had to really rebuild like other teams have.
Well, hockey, you can keep the players for far, far longer. You can keep them for 20 years if they want to keep playing. Really.
Yeah, it bounced that. Yeah, I know. There's been a lot of problems, even college sports dating way back. I mean, it's not just new, but the trend to embracing the gambling, I think, is one of the other things that's to me taking away from the tradition and what the game used to be. So but so let's see where this. So JT, our friend Marty with a C, is one game behind you. He's at 42 points. You're at 44. So like I tell him, let's go Devils. So we'll see what happens. So we'll try to keep up to date on some hockey. And I appreciate your knowledge of the game, and JT. where I
Now,
don't have it.
if I may, you
Yeah.
asked me is there any Detroit team I don't like besides the Pistons? There's a reason why I think the Red Wings are a fantastic team to be
Yeah.
a fan of.
Uh-huh.
And if you look in the city of Detroit, your Tigers are your historical team.
Right.
They're kind of like your like the type of fan is like your 55 and up white middle class type person that really loves the Tigers. Everybody loves the NFL. Everybody loves the NFL. The Pistons, people forget they're still here. The Red Wings, though, are nice because not only do they have that original team legacy in the history to it and the whole just dynasty in the 90s and in the 2000s, they are also more of a not that anyone can't be a fan, but if you look at like the what we call downriver, which is just like the south side of well, not really even south side. It is more to the south of Detroit, and it's very blue collar in that area. So this is the team that if you are blue collar or a line worker or somebody who maybe is used to working with their hands instead of with a college degree, this is their team, and they are like 150% behind this team. So
Right.
you don't meet a whole lot of fake fans of the Red Wings.
Nope.
And so that is just really always fun to see. And hockey is one of those contact sports that maybe doesn't get the love that it should because ESPN, for whatever reason, has a hate on for this league. But yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Gordie Howe.
That's decent. Yep, Gordie Howe. So, folks, hopefully you will
Gordie
get.
Howe International Bridge is nearing completion, by the way, between Detroit and Canada, because he was Canadian and played for Detroit. So who else are you going to name it after, right?
Wonderful. Well, one last thing I want to talk about for a couple minutes is we'll just touch on a little bit because it's still early in the season. We're just getting into conference play. Men's college basketball. Men's college basketball. The SEC is dominant again. 3 out of the top 5 in the country. I think 5 in the top 10. Auburn, you both number 1 in both polls. Florida, my Gators, 4-1, 5 in the other, and Alabama's flipped accordingly. So I tell you, great year to be a Florida Gator fan. They kicked Tennessee's ass by 30 plus points, giving Tennessee its first loss of the season last week, which just was so fun to watch. Tennessee fell 5 spots because of it. Of course, Kentucky was in action tonight against Texas A&M in a game. Let's see. Holy sheesh, but look at that. We got a score. We got a potential upset. As I say that, the Gators are trailing the Misery by 4 in Gainesville. Oh, shit. Come on, Gators, you bastards. Hey, Auburn number 1 wins 88-66 of Mississippi State. Ole Miss goes on the road, upsets Alabama. Okay, so Misery. But see, the problem is Misery's unranked and did not have a lot of hope this year. But Kentucky did hold off Texas A&M 81-69 earlier tonight.
These rankings, by the way, I'm calling complete bullshit on them. Sorry for swearing on your channel.
No, you're good. You're good.
Look at Alabama real quick.
Yep.
They have 3 losses now. They've lost to a number 13 Purdue, an unranked Oregon, and now 21 Ole Miss.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, I know the rankings just came out before they lost. Go down to my school real quick there at 12th, Michigan State.
Michigan State, yeah.
14 and 2. Why does Alabama get to be 5th and Michigan State's 14-2? Check out their losses, who they lost to.
Kansas, number 1 Kansas, and
number 1
Memphis.
Kansas in Memphis. You're telling me that Alabama is that much better of a team? And Michigan State's been putting these schools away.
Yeah. Hey, but look, you're first in the Big Ten for now.
Right. How are we first in the Big Ten?
Because SEC is the best around. So sorry.
I am sorry. I don't believe this. I don't believe this that
Well,
you
look,
know,
Dave's an SEC guy, but he says Bama always gets a boost from their people in the media. Yeah. Buddy said, I'd like college basketball if they only showed games on TV during March Madness. I'm confused by that just a little, buddy.
well, they put them on the Turner networks.
Oh, and True TV. Oh,
Mhm.
instead of the regular TV. Yeah, because they used to all be on CBS. See, that's the thing. If you pay, you can get them all. If you got Sling or any other type of streaming service. Yeah, buddy asked, you sure that's not football, JT Kirk?
Yeah. Yep.
So Small Town Republic says Ken Palm rankings are usually the best there up to the minute. I have to look at that one though. So, Balzette said I gotta agree and used to be a Bama fan. So how about that?
Yeah. So I just wanted to rant. I think that moving from 14th to 12th when you've won 8 games in a row as Michigan State. Come on now.
Well, Balzette,
stop with this foolishness.
Balzette, I know you. I understand not being a fan of any sports now. I pulled out for a number of years, and I just kind of at some point decided I try to pick and choose my battles and whatever. But hey, this is as close as it gets now. Hey, the fact that you're here makes us happy because you know what? We're here to have fun with people. If you can hear me go on a wild rampage one time and get some laughs out of it, that's cool. You can say what you want to. I understand being picky. I understand a lot of the frustration for all levels of sports, college, pro, on many reasons these days. Because I can tell you, JT, we talked about the officiating. The rules don't help. The protecting the receivers and the quarterbacks. So Tom Brady touching too much, then he's, then it's a foul, a personal foul. The games like baseball with advertisements all through the parks. My God, it looks worse than the old minor league parks used to. But the minor league parks were that way because they had to have money. And all these rule changes. And I tell you what,
the MLB.
Well, see, also about that, the thing is, they're changing also the way the game's played in many ways. For some of us older school people, that it's like not the same game. They're changing rules in some ways to try to get the game over faster. Well, I want the game to take its natural flow. If the runner goes out, stop the clock. Whatever. But now they're so jammed in to we got to crush it in here. And then like college football now, the overtime rules, they snuck that in on us this year, JT. With after the second overtime, it's basically one play, 2-point conversions. People's seasons come down to that. And I despise it in freaking hockey playoffs. I despise it in international football. No, I don't care if you got to run 3 days. Damn it, kick the damn ball at the goal instead of kicking between the midfield lines. Try to score. That's the point of the game. Sorry, JT. I know you like your soccer. I can appreciate defensive soccer. I really can. Don't get me wrong, but I hate it when they just dawdle around just to waste time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the whole thing with baseball is they look at the average age of their fans, and it's getting closer to being able to withdraw from Social Security than it is graduating from college.
The Gap. Oh yeah. That was an advertisement. The Gap in the 90s on the outfield wall. Yeah. Yeah, and I know all those type of things, blatantly lying about it, and then they blame the fans for everything. They blame the fans for like me that don't like the rule changes.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh my gosh. Well, Florida's pulled within 2 of the 79-77 of Missouri.
So they're being foul happy now is probably.
Well, I don't know. They may not because there's 38 seconds. It may come down to it may just come down to a defensive stop and getting the ball back and try to score. I'm just like, this is. I mean, they went on the road. They beat Arkansas handily this week. Saturday, come back home, 5th in the nation. But see, that happens to a lot of teams. They get stuck on their own press clippings, and they bleed. They don't play as hard.
Right. Well, I can tell you, Michigan State should win another 2 games and move up, and then Florida can give up that spot if they like.
Well, it looks like they're going to try to tonight. Florida almost got the steal in the backcourt. 10-second call. Oh, I think it looks like it's either 10-second call or Missouri called a timeout. So we got a review, I think, on there. Yeah. Well, it happens. But hey, if you come here and listen to us rant and rave about sports, that's fine too. We enjoy ranting and raving. I guess they're probably going to go to a clock review to see if it should have been a 10-second call. No, I think he wasn't all the way over he wasn't always. That's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think that they actually, of course, this is the beauty, I think, with college basketball. I don't have as much pressure. Mm-hmm. You lose this time of year because, like you said, really, truly, the rankings at this point just don't matter anything. I mean, it's still too early. What matters is how you're playing and what's going in March and your seeding in the conference tournament. So it looks like they awarded them the timeout.
Oh, see, that game is not on my TV.
Yeah, well,
Pausette says that she has not watched anything in over a decade.
Yeah,
for the MLB, NBA, the professional leagues, plus looks like both golf leagues there. The the visual experience has gone up so much, unless you're watching it on Amazon. It's just so much the past decade that it really is impressive to see some of the camera angles and camera work and things like that. The unfortunate part is you get so much political BS now during a lot of these games, and then not even if you agree with a lot of it, you get gypped out of so much of this game. Like watch any NFL game, you're going to miss probably 6 or 7 plays. Yeah. Why do you miss getting to watch 6 or 7 plays? Because they're too focused on graphics or standing on a fake mini football field with suits with tennis shoes on, pretending that they're still on the field. All this pre-rehearsed, pre-scripted bullshit commentary takes yourself out of the game because they're too busy rolling an ad or too busy talking about their dog or some crap. And then you turn back on the field after a big first down and, oh, look, it's already second down. How the hell did that happen? And nobody's paying a subscription for that. We're not paying to hear you talk. We're paying to hear you talk about this football game as we watch it, or else we just hit the mute button.
Right.
And that has been, I think, to me, just the old man yelling, "Get off my lawn." That has been a huge disservice. Is if you're hearing more of the game on a radio than what you're seeing with your own 2 eyeballs on the TV, that's a mistake. That's a huge mistake.
But as I said, momentum here for YouTube for baseball content. Yeah, I was going to try that last year, but with mom's surgery went crazy in February and everything that happened, life really got in the way for a lot of what I had wanted to do last year. So maybe this year, hopefully we can find a way to do it where we can do it. And Wes Cagle, go Scarlet Knights. New Jersey sucks. Good to see you, Sue. Good to see you too. All right, Small Time Republic said also Herb Street having his dog in the booth is a joke. I agree. I was like, leave the damn mud at home. Sorry, didn't I say that? Did I? I don't know.
You don't hate dogs.
No, I don't hate dogs. I love it. I love dogs. Right. I just don't want them in a Mexican restaurant in your purse, the seat. It's like, leave them home. They're pet. I'm from a, it's like, we don't want extra. I mean, if you're prepared, anyway, I won't make that joke.
Oh, no, I was at the grocery store on Sunday and some woman had her little dog in between her cleavage walking around.
What?
Yeah, I gave her quite the scornful look.
All right. Well, Florida's down to 7 seconds left. They're going to have to foul. was 5 seconds. So Missouri has to. If they make 2 free throws, they're winning. Hey, we're still got 12 people. We're going to end up here in a second. I need to talk to JT for a little bit after the show. So let me see what we missed here.
Yeah, he said, "See me after class." I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, I did it again."
Yeah, Dave does. Also, the economy's been an issue, and the quality. Yeah, quality of sports. I mean, the rush to get games over. I like extra innings in baseball is fine with me. It's extra free football, bad baseball, or football overtimes. I don't want all this. Let the game roll. Let it keep going. Now, you and I will disagree though on the overtime rules.
Mm-hmm.
See, we agree that what they're doing in college is ridiculous now, but Florida could hit a 3 to. No, it's 4. They were down 4. All right. Anyway, the Gators are going to lose. So anyway, another upset. But see, Alabama also lost at home to make that. But see, we don't like the sudden death. You don't like the sudden death like the old NFL.
Right.
I'm more of a sudden death. You know, you play defense. It's up to you. So, all right. Well, let's see. Let me go ahead and say, Buddy says, that's right. His A's moved. Although his A's are going to be playing in a Triple League stadium in Sacramento. Although I've heard some rumors they might not ever leave Sacramento. I got to check in on that Oakland A move to Vegas mess because they've torn down the Tropicana, but yet it still sounds like there are stadium issues. Go figure. Don't make seem very intelligent thing.
Oh, no way.
Yes. All right.
Game made a 3-point jumper, 1 second left.
Yeah, but it's over.
They're going to have to foul him.
Yeah.
The second.
Snorter Poopers got to go back. Hey, Snorter Poopers, I'm glad you came in for so much sports tonight. We're going to go ahead and wrap up with the Gators having a lucky dog, though. Lucky dog, though. That's, probably so. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the dog does. You never know what kind of dog is thinking. Let me be reincarnated. There you go. Reincarnated as a Chihuahua. There you go. So I think so, but some people want just equal time. Owner is an $$sign. Yeah. Well, we'll have to talk about that more. But hey, JT, thanks for coming in tonight. We still got 11 people here. Make sure you've hit like button. Make sure you've got set up for all notifications for when we go live. Follow us on Twitch and everything else. But hey, thank you for being here. Tomorrow night is Late Night with Dad Man at 10 p.m. Eastern. Join me. That Mrs. will be with me tomorrow night. Wes Cagle is scheduled to be here with me, and I don't know. We'll maybe see if there's more. But hey, hope to see y'all tomorrow night at 10. But also, you start practicing Yoki or Taco Bell. Nice. I do want to bring up one slide though, real quick, because Mrs. worked so hard on it, and I do want to, because this is a big stream that we've got. Every stream's big stream, but this one in particular I got coming up on Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. It'll be later than I normally do, but hey, we got to work in Alaska Jeff's time on Thursday night. We are actually going to go back into the great state of Alaska again. Specifically, cool. We are going to be talking about the Aleutian Islands. If the screen will ever load up, and I can move it. I hate this screen sometimes, but there you go. All right, now it's there. Let's move it. Where the hell? Some
of the most difficult islands on Earth to live on.
Yes, exactly. Very hazardous. Actually, from one of the Pacific podcasts that I saw, they for some reason Japanese and American military people thought that these islands had very strategic value. So they were not just a distraction for Midway, and we went and reclaimed them. So hey, but we will be talking about the islands, what they're made of, the weather up there. If you watch the fishing shows, I'm sure this is going to be amazing and outstanding because Jeff is great with the Google Maps, and I don't think he just uses Google Maps, but the technology he had is amazing. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is great. So hope to see all that on Thursday night at 10 p.m. Of course, also we've got Late Nights with Dad Man. It'll be Friday also. I'm going to try to do that Friday again. And then Monday, I'm chatting with Tomby.
Nice.
I'm not sure if y'all have met Tomby yet. He's been in it one time or two in the midst of my chats, but a great supporter of local of smaller content creators, hardworking guy out there shouting a lot of people out. Yeah, I think you're going to need a bigger box. Yeah, Bell said. So that's what we got on Monday. And of course, chill chats whenever I feel like it. A lot of Fortnite when we go. And then their Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Dadman Walking 55. On that note, everybody have a great night. We will catch you later. See you tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Bye, all.
Bye.